Alrighty, alright. Good evening, friends, and welcome back once again to The Wrong Side of the Wall, a horror anthology of doomed reality. Season 3 continues. One last March. And tonight is episode 5, entitled The Vow. And we are in the last third of the season now. We have a session tonight and then our finale coming up after that, so things are going to be gearing up. I'm very excited, but I'm also a little nervous. We got some, some heavy stuff to look at tonight. So, but first things first, as always, Chris was on recap duty, and he has been so kind as to pre-record it. So I'm gonna.
Oh, hold on before you hit that. There's a little walk into the intro there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Please go
so
it's a hybrid.
It is.
Nice.
There is a little shack on the edge of a village at the top of a mountain. It's about as far out as you can get while still being in Arnvel somewhere. And it's not the sort of place you'd expect to find a fortune teller. Even the less than trustworthy sort that seems to occupy this shack. If anything, it suggests that maybe whoever is occupying this shack is trying to avoid notice, while still being close enough to observe, to see without being seen. In any case, the villagers know about the shack. They won't once the shack is gone. They'll never remember that anything was there. But for now, young men and women occasionally will visit to see if there isn't anything to the rumors of at least curious, if not incredible, magical powers.
Why, hello, young master. Come in, come in. Close the door behind you. Yes, that's right. Come to see Bogart and his little tricks, have we? Oh, I have so many. How about a love potion to make your most ardent desire yours? Or an anti-love potion if you found that they're just a little too clingy? No? Well, perhaps you yourself are looking for a little change of gender. Try the other pants on for size, No. Okay. No need to threaten. I have something for everyone. How about a glimpse at the future? Well, more like a glimpse at the present, but trust me, there's a little bit of future in the present. After all, what you're doing right now determines something about what's going to happen then, doesn't it? Just drop your coin right there, that's right. And we'll get started. In Orkhold's depths, a cavern vast, the soldiers of Arnvel ventured down, their goal unclear, but still held fast, careful not to make a sound. A gruesome sight, orcs lay in death, slaughtered by a single man, if man he was, faster than breath, an awesome power in his hand. He drank lightning as one drinks mead, even magic rendered impotent. What kind of creature had been freed from some deep, dark, and hellish vents? If God exists out there still, as God then ardently proclaims, and this an angel sent to kill, reaper, clothed in darkest flames. Stunned and shaken, the soldiers stand, but Godvin's voice in fervor cries, declared his God had made command, this creature, by their hands he dies. But Lionel, in his search discovered, a group of orcs charnel house fled. The body pursues and then uncovers the dread tower of Cassus, the shaman led. The tower guarded by magic's might and disciples ready to defend. But when they arrive, a shocking sight, the tower torn and lives at end. At the height of distant peak, an apprenticed and a sigiled path revealed the outcome the soldiers seek. Gases fled the Reaper's wrath. So forth the party goes once more to seek this greatest mage of fire. For Gases holds hope of ending war, a peace talk neath an ancient pyre. In deepest crypts, mages were sought, towards peace Cassus his nation led. But no peace ever shall there be, if Reaper sees all of them dead.
Nice. That was so good, Chris. The recaps just keep getting better and better. Pretty soon I won't have to write sessions.
Gotta
Well,
keep
yeah,
raising that bar.
I'm pretty much screwed, so
Yeah.
I will catch you guys next campaign.
Pretty soon
I was
I'll
gonna
have to write
say, stop upping the game.
Yeah, it's a good session, guys. Good session.
Yeah, good session.
Can we all just level up, please?
Yeah, I hope Reaper doesn't see them all dead.
Chris, Richard, and I are in a constant duel to outdo each other.
Okay, now the question is, if we're all dead, but Reaper doesn't see us,
Ooh.
does a tree make a sound?
Let's see.
Only if
which,
you use one hand.
which good narrators are available on Cameo? I'll just write something up real quick for the recap, and I'll get.
Matthew
Yeah.
Mercer.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do like a TikTok video for my recaps
I'll
now.
get the Halo announcer to read it.
Can also be like a 1-minute looping YouTube short of Rick doing something weird.
Tell me you didn't write your own recap.
I got the
Tell
other
me
Rick
you
to
didn't
sing
write
this for
your own
me.
recap.
You know what it is? It's just a gif of Rick rolling down the hill, but
That's right.
it's a perfect loop where he keeps
Yeah.
going from the top down to the bottom, and then top and then bottom, and it looks like
That's
it's
right.
an infinite hill forever.
That's
Sorry,
right.
Rick doing what?
I'm gonna give you all the-
Rick is actually the boulder of Sisyphus that he has to constantly push
That's
back
not
up,
bad.
but he keeps rolling back down.
Nice. That's a good reference.
As he's actually a sentient rock person. And
See, we don't just make dirty jokes here. Sometimes somebody reaches for a good Greek mythology reference too. That's good.
Either
Yeah,
way,
like,
we
stop
got
pushing
dirty
me up
jokes
the
going
hill,
back
Sisyphus,
thousands
try
of
to go
years,
down.
my friends.
The reference has increased in class tonight. I'm
yeah,
very
it's like the rock's trying to go down the hill, but Sisyphus is like, no, bitch, go up the hill. And the rock's like, no, damn it, I want to go down the hill.
Chris,
Um,
great rehab.
Anyways, that was an
Thank
amazing
you.
recap, Chris. Thank you so much. And of course, it rhymed. It was excellent. So
I think Chris earns an XP from that.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what happens. And hey, some references.
I'll look-
in there
I'll look
for
forward
those
to
who are
leveling up.
paying attention. Yeah.
In 1,000
Um,
years from now.
Actually,
When we're
on that
over-
note, before we kind of zoom back in on the scene we left last time, one thing I wanted to do at the start of today's session, Chris, which we've only done once or twice, which I'm supposed to apparently do every session. Under your race note, it says at the beginning of
Oh,
each
that's
session,
right.
the GM will ask you something about your homeland, why you left, or what you left behind. I haven't asked in the last couple of weeks because we learned so
I
much
tried to
about-
weave that into
Exactly.
the second session bit
Yeah,
there. I
it's
think it's
clear.
pretty clear where he
Yeah.
came from and why he left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. About your home and why you left. But I wanted to zoom in on that third point about the what you left behind, just to make it interesting for today. So I won't make you go on and on about it, but yeah, if you could share that, that'd be really cool.
All right. Invention on the spot. What did I leave behind?
Many.
Many things. That is the things that belong to many. When Many left his tribe, he was only just on the verge of becoming a man, as they defined it. He was 13 years old.
Yes.
And, of course, he left behind his family and his friends and the world that he'd known. But he took one thing with him, and that was the animal skins on which the prophecy that had been spoken over him were written. Of course, each of the prophecies got written out and they became an important part of the totem, the spiritual totem that each individual collected over the course of their lives. And although Many has not built his totem the way that his tribe would normally do so, instead he wears much of the gruesome bits that he has collected over time, making himself sort of a living totem. He has held on to that piece of parchment. He carries it in a waterproof satchel that he keeps near his skin. And although, he has made himself something of a living totem, he doesn't truly believe in the power that it's supposed to have. I suppose in many ways, when he left behind his childhood and his tribe, he left behind his faith in anything beyond the ends of his own fingers and his fists.
Right. Almost an empty ritual for him now.
It's a way that he reminds himself about what he's lost, more than any hope of future gain.
Right. Understood. Thank you. That's very insightful. And now we sort of zoom back in on the Tower of Cassis at the various levels. So just to bring us the immediate moment that we ended on session 4, as we come into this scene, Godwin and Many were at the top of the tower inspecting what looks to be a teleportation circle, and they determined that somebody has used it, but it's a one-way, one-time sort of trip. And there doesn't seem to be any signs of violence here, so it would seem, and the apprentice that you guys found confirmed that Cassis managed to escape or whatever. And the apprentice that you found was had locked himself basically in the wine cellar. So gotten away because he'd been sent off to get the evening's bottle when all hell broke loose, and he just decided to stay put. But he confirms that although he's not 100% sure where Cassis is going, he does know something about his plans, that he was hoping to host this peace conference, and that the location was set to be this crypt that was nearby. Or not super nearby, but, close enough that they could all travel to it. Apparently, the orc shaman who had been slain that you guys witnessed was also apparently supposed to be part of this, but obviously she won't be. And he draws you a map to this location, and then Godwin ordered him back into the wine cellar and sort of sealed him in or whatever. With a big rock, if I remember correctly. So Godwin and Many made their way up to the top. So the two of you are making your way down the stairs now. There's a big staircase, so, you're still a few minutes away from the rest of the group. Meanwhile, both Lionel and Rick had intention to basically release the apprentice from the cellar. So I suppose it doesn't really matter who gets there first to open the door, but both of you obviously made your way over to that side.
I think it would be interesting to see us both walking over and be like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, so I'm gonna open there, but my question before that happens is, so I know what 4 of you are doing. Rian, what are you up to at the same time? Are you just awaiting Godwin and Many's return? Are you
if there's nothing for
What's
me
going
to,
on?
if there's nothing for him to take, I guess he is just kind of eyeing things over.
Okay. All right. Just so I know where you're at. So, but you're still very much on the ground floor with Rick and Lionel.
Maybe keeping an eye on the front, the front door and only exit possibly as well.
Yes. All right. So then we will open on. So Lionel and Rick, you have both independently of each other wandered over to the wine cellar that Godwin has sort of quickly sealed up. So take it away, gentlemen.
There's a person under that rock. And what's your intention?
I hadn't any intention of leaving him there. We still have a few minutes before they make it down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. And I did have a few questions for him. Plus, he will die if we leave him down there.
Absolutely.
And then Rick grabs the rock with one hand and picks it up.
I know you have questions, but try to make them quick. I would much prefer he was long gone before they make it to the bottom.
If he's still here, don't worry.
As soon as you lift the rock up, the apprentice, we'll continue calling him that. The apprentice does like the very like tentative, like almost Ninja Turtles from the manhole cover motion, where he like uses the tops of his hands to lift the panel up and just sort of peek out with his eyes. And he notices Lionel and Rick standing over him, and he just sort of like stares at the two of you, uncertain of what either of you are going to do.
Please come out, person that I know no name of.
He lifts the panel and he climbs out and he stands between the two of you. What is your intention? I thought your intention was to leave me there.
Well, my intention is to ask you questions.
It would
And
seem
then you
not
can-
all of our group intends to leave you under the floorboards.
And then you can do as you will.
I see. Well, I don't know much help I can be, Man of Stone, but I suppose I will hear your questions anyways, since you freed me.
My name's Rick.
He nods. Rick. Yes.
And yours?
He looks at you. I do not possess a name. I have not earned mine yet.
What would you like to be called?
Before I was recruited by Cassis, I was known as Jessen. You may call me that, although I have
Okay.
left that name behind for several years.
Well then, person formerly known as Jessen. Couple of quick questions. What was your role here?
He looks up at the stairs, eyeing the two figures coming down. My
Don't you
roles-
worry about them.
I was a apprentice of Cassis, although I do not possess magical talent myself. He has much in the way of scholarly knowledge. He has lived much longer than man usually does or should. He had a lot to offer me, and since my family was too poor to send me to school, this was the best option.
I see. Where is that knowledge now?
He looks around at the books. Much of that knowledge is still here, though it is written in a language I do not understand.
Understood. Primarily, I look at this tower and I wonder two things. One, is it some sort of magical stone that it is made out of? And two, are there wards protecting this construct or some sort of magic that can be disarmed?
I do not know all the particulars of the wards or protections of this tower. I'm afraid that those who do are Lord Cassis and those slain around you. I know very little of the tower's construct. I am relatively new here. As to the construction materials used for the tower, I do not think it is simple enough to say that it is made of stone.
I see. Lionel, do you have any questions?
None to speak of.
By this point, Manny and Godwin are basically at the bottom of the staircase. Close enough to be within earshot and that kind of thing.
Then Jensen, you are free to do as you wish, whether you stay here or leave. That is your decision.
I have no one to return to, sir. My parents were killed in a recent attack. This tower was my home until yesterday. So, if it's all the same to you, I thank you for releasing me, but I still feel like this is my place, even if I must take it alone.
Very well then.
He So at this point, Godwin and Many, you're steps away from Rick, Lionel, and Rian. So you can certainly see Rick talking to the apprentice. And he looks very sheepish towards the two of you. And doesn't, like, jump back in the cell or anything, but just sort of, like, steps back away from both of them and just sort of looks sheepishly at the floor.
Yes, this is likely not going to be fun to watch, but I would urge you not to go back into the cellar.
The young man just nods and again continues to sort of stare at the floor.
If anything, get behind me.
He does so pretty easily, considering that you're a big rock guy. Anyways,
I'm not big, I'm wide.
You're wide, exactly. You're like a Gears of War character. Big fridge.
Big fridge, small
Where's
head.
my wife?
Godwin and Many, you've rejoined the group at this point.
Godwin looks towards Lionel and Rick, and then at the young person. Well, let's be off, gentlemen.
Excellent, Godwin. I've even secured 4 fabulous bottles of wine for our trip.
Very good. We will need that.
I'm sure we will.
I know there's the big elephant in the room.
That you've gone against.
That
our
I've
wishes.
released this man, of course.
Well, did you do it yourself?
Of course I did.
He did not.
If any harm falls upon Jensen, you will have me to face.
Lionel, was it also your doing?
It was. I also made this decision. Of course, Rick doesn't fall under your purview. If you wish to
Yes.
have a discussion with me about this, I'd be happy to. If you'd wish to put me up in front of a court when we return to the camp, I'd be happy to have that as well. But I don't think now is the time.
No, I don't either, because I'm quite stressed. Thank you very much. We'll leave the boy here, and we will make our way to where we have to be.
And then Rick gives you a big rocky thumbs up. Whatever that means in this world, he doesn't know, but to him it's
Right.
like A-okay.
That's right. Little does he know, he's declared war on all
Yeah, I
of them.
was gonna say you have just offended. He just threw a glove at you.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. And worst, you have no idea what it means. I'll let the players decide whether thumbs ups means anything to any of you. But at worst, you just have no idea what he's doing. So
Poor Rick doesn't know that this is working by Australian rules.
yeah, that's
Up
right.
yours.
In actuality, Rick has just declared his love to Godwin.
You've done what with my mother?
Salacious.
Wants to get up yours. There you go.
Okay.
Are we going to have personal thumb wars? Oh,
Godwin's very flattered, but he's already married to his work.
damn.
All right.
Anyways, gentlemen, I need to stay behind for a few minutes. Go ahead, I will catch up.
You'll catch up.
Behind.
Fine.
Lionel walks out of the tower.
Okay.
Godwin shoos Many and Rian.
Okay.
And then points at Rick.
Right.
Smiles and leaves.
Okay.
Minnie allows himself to be shooed, but mostly because he's not really paying attention. Still clearly thinking about the scene that he saw at the top of the tower.
Right.
He's also not wearing shoes, so
There you go.
That's right.
Rian's
Had
just
something
happy.
added to him.
Rian's just happy that he's not getting yelled at this time.
I'm not in trouble.
Hope it's not me today.
Yeah. My parents are mad at my brother, not me. Yeah.
Funnily enough,
Free.
if Rian had threatened to tattle or whatever, I was just gonna say, well, wouldn't it be nice to have some of the heat off you? So that was my
Right.
plan there.
All right, well, then the other 4 gents have exited the tower. Meanwhile, Rick, what is
Yes.
your intent?
I would like to try something.
Okay.
I want to walk back up to one of the walls of the tower once more.
Okay.
Encountering what I did before, I kind of know what to expect now. Like some sort of like really massive resistance or feedback or something like that. And knowing that, I want to go in and I want to try and, especially knowing that Reaper's here and I'm by myself, and that everybody around me is going to die.
Oh.
The intention here is to try and use my ability of absorption to absorb some of like the magical essence of the tower in a way.
I see. Gotcha.
At least that's what I'm attempting to do.
That's what you're attempting to do. Okay. Rick's thinking, okay, basically this is magic rock. I would like some magic rock. What happens if I try to become part of it or take part of it?
To simplify it, yes, but he's putting a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, because this time he knows that for some reason it hurt last time, basically.
And if it does hurt again, I would kind of press harder type of idea, you know? It's like kind of push through the pain.
Push through the pain, right. Okay. I want you to
make a new character? Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick crumbles.
I would like you to just roll straight Constitution, please.
Okay, so this would count for my -1 going forward from the last time I attempted this.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Okay, it's an 8. All right. So there's your -1, so you can remove that or whatever.
Got it.
Okay. Cool. Not too bad because it would have been a 9 otherwise. So basically same result. So this time, Rick, you brace for the shock, and as you come in contact with the tower, there's still the sensation of it, but it doesn't bother you the same way. Maybe it's because you're mentally prepared for it, or maybe it's because you're on the inside of the tower and it doesn't work the same way. Who knows? That's magic-y mumbo jumbo right now to you. However, the thing that's really important to you this time is that, like the other times that you've sort of communed with stone, you feel like you hear something. And when you meld or hear a voice, it's not like a clear someone's talking to you. It's more just like a motion washing over you or something like that. Like I mentioned there in the cave, you kept getting that sensation of like they were blaming you or they were angry at you for a reason you didn't understand. Here you get 2 sensations. Number 1 is that as much as it could be the tower is older than you. You get sort of a sensation that you might get around not just someone older than you that you might respect, like your dad or something like that, but someone who you really admired. Like you just bumped into, I don't know who you admire, but I don't know. Somebody you would consider to be a role model or an actor you really admired or something like that. Some sort of sensation like that might you get. So you get that sort of sensation, like almost like you're knocking on the door of the professor's study and you know he's busy and you're feeling a bit awkward asking him a question. There's just that sort of aspect of like, whatever I'm engaging with is there's almost an admiration to it. The second sensation that you get is that, how do I describe this? There's almost like a voice that says to you, do I know you? Like, you get a very strong sense the tower asks you that for whatever strength that has. And when you hear that question, your mind immediately goes, yeah, I do, sort of. I'm starting to. And that's your first reaction, and then your second reaction is, Oh, it's not hurting like it was before. And then your third reaction is silence. And that's all you get from the wall.
Cool.
Who's guess?
That's a Rick palette swap. Oh, I'm a shiny now, guys.
Nice.
Right, when you evolve, you're going to evolve into a tower.
That's Rick's evolved form. That's right. He's only.
They have a literal Pokemon. They have a Pokemon that's a literal iceberg. So
That's true.
Not the
You
weirdest
need a special
possible.
stone. You need a stone. Those are hard to get.
stone.
The apprentice watches you with sort of like very childlike curiosity. Actually, as you turn away from the wall and look back at him, you kind of get that sense of why he was here. He's obviously a very curious young lad. When I say young lad, I don't think I ever aged him, but like he's college age, like he's early 20s probably, right? No, or older than 20 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even younger than that. But he just watches you with such a fervent curiosity into what you're doing. And then as soon as you kind of turn to stop, he backs off. But it's the first time you've seen an emotion from him other than just like fear and panic.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he becomes aware of you again, he kind of like goes back to like just kind of doing busy work. Like he starts picking crap up off the floor and stocking the shelves again and that kind of thing. So.
Okay.
So before I ask you the next question, Rick, as for Godwin and Co., you have all exited the tower. Are you standing somewhere nearby waiting for Rick to exit, or have you actually started taking a look at the map and moseying along? I guess that question's to Godwin.
What was the question? Sorry.
I said, do you wait for Rick to come out when you're outside, or do you start looking at the map and start to mosey along?
The man told me he would catch up.
Okay. All right. So you've already started then. All right.
Yep.
Very good.
We're on our way.
Okay. The air in the evening is quiet and chill. There's a relative peace to it all, though whether any of you are feeling at peace, who's to say? And marching order? Does Lionel take point, etc.? Like I've sort of come to assume that Lionel's somewhere near the front, and then the others are sort of in the mid.
Yeah, should Godwin not stop me from doing so, Lionel would just be acting as if everything was normal.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, and who has charge of the map?
That would be me.
That would be you? Okay. Great. Then I would like you to... Godwin, I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I would like you then to roll either straight intelligence or straight wisdom. Your choice.
I have status effects on both.
Well, I guess
I guess
pick your
these will
poison
be
then.
cool rolls then.
Yeah.
More XP.
It's a 7. Okay.
You did it.
Yeah. Okay, so before I resolve that, Rick, after your encounter with the tower, as it were, do you do anything further at this point, or do you go to catch up with the group?
Were we going north or south?
North.
North, okay.
Sort of northeast-ish?
Okay, so then I walk back towards the north side, and I want to grab a book on my way out.
Okay. So all of the books are written in whatever language they are. You don't recognize the scribbles on them, but yeah. So does it matter? Like you just grab the book that you kind of pass by?
I just find one that looks pretty, and then go.
Right, gotcha.
I'm not really paying too much attention. Like, yoink, that one looks good, nice and thick, pretty hefty.
Cover, etc., etc. Gotcha. Okay, understood. You shove that into some rock crevice.
I'm just reading it.
Yeah, just reading it. So
reading in the dark's bad for your eyes, Rick.
All right.
Who
so
says I have eyes?
You've headed out. You're heading back to the other group. So it's true. His picture is a rock with googly eyes, but
that's why I have googly eyes. I don't have eyes, guys.
Exactly.
I have rock sense.
Exactly. I always imagined Rick just has sort of like indents in his face or something. Anyways, anyways, the rest of the group. So eventually, those of you with good perception can start to hear like the thud, thud, thud of Rick coming up from behind.
I guess we must have been taking our time, taking it easy.
So.
Rick sped up. Rick sped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He can go relatively fast when he wants to.
He's still a decent ways. He's still a decent ways behind you, but all of you can now see him at least, right? Like it's like he's a block or two behind you, but the areas.
Old man.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail it like that.
Yeah. But at this point, all of you can see Rick, but he's still, like a block or two equivalent behind you.
All right. Well, in that case, Manny will pause in his stride, tell Godwin to continue on.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the Rockman.
Okay.
Very well.
So let's resolve that 7. Godwin, this is an abstraction of the journey. That doesn't necessarily mean there can't be chances to converse, but I'll just get across the journey to the crypt in that role. You navigate them to the crypt, but there's a couple of places where the map the apprentice has drawn is a bit confusing, and maybe at one point you turn the wrong way and have to turn back, and you waste some time or whatever. But anyways, it's a pretty exhausting journey. There's bog and there's uphills and downhills and rocky surfaces and all of that. So I would like everyone to take 1 HP worth of damage to represent the weariness that the trip inflicts.
I'm bloodied.
In the meantime, Manny, you waited for Rick, and Rick catches up to you.
Well, Rockman, did you find what you were looking for?
Rick,
I think you're muted.
I'll repeat my words. Maybe. I'm not too sure, though.
And what were you looking for?
Power, I guess.
That's a worthy pursuit. We'll need it.
If we come across this Reaper once more.
Your demeanor has changed since you first saw him. You were very easygoing when first we met, but you seem scared.
Because I don't think I can win.
Are you afraid of dying, Rick?
No.
Then what is there to fear?
What he'll do to others if I'm not here.
What were you back in the world you came from?
As stupid as it sounds, I was training to be a hero. Whatever that means.
A hero. My tribe has history of heroes. Every young man was supposed to aspire to be one. Someone who would live on in legend. They tended to be tremendous assholes. But I think you mean something different, Rick. Why did you care about the apprentice's fate? It was of no value to you.
Because it was wrong. Plain and simple.
I think your world must have been a different place than the one I'm familiar with. Maybe a better one, maybe not. What's it like being surrounded by so many rockmen, I wonder? Anyways, enough
I'm
of
the
this.
only one.
Many actually stops this time. Oh. That's disappointing. And then he continues on.
Okay, thank you very much. Christian, did you see my whisper?
Whisper
Ooh.
was make a new character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta heal at some point. Well, Many sticks around back with Rick. Godvin jogs ahead to where Lionel is.
Mhm.
Hello,
Well, clear up
friends.
here.
Is it?
It surely is.
What isn't clear to me is where your allegiance is.
Where my allegiance lies.
Yes.
You do
Rian-
know this.
Rian stops
I'm
moving and gives this conversation a wide berth.
Right.
I have allegiance to you, Godwin. Don't mistake that for a moment.
I'm not asking if your allegiance is with me.
All right. I suppose I misunderstood what this whole conversation was about. Clarification, please.
We belong to an army.
Yes.
Our purpose is to hunt witches.
Agreed.
Is it not?
Yep.
Yes.
That's our purpose.
I'm confused then as to why you let that boy go.
Ah, the boy. That boy was as much a witch as Rian or Manny. That boy's not a witch.
You know why he was there. You know what he was doing. He was learning from a wizard.
He was learning from a very powerful and intelligent figure. Just because the man was a wizard does not mean he was teaching the boy witchcraft. That boy had no penchant for magic whatsoever. And I think we both know that there are, in fact, exceptions. You said that when we put him in the cellar. There are no exceptions. We both know that is a lie.
Did you see what I saw in that cave? What that man was able to do? Walked through someone else.
It is truly the second most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my entire life. By sheer violence, easily the most horrifying.
Absolutely.
I'm not convinced that man's a witch either. But that's besides the point.
I'm simply confused as to why you've decided that now is when we make exceptions. I'm not punishing you. I'm not asking you to go back and put the boy back in. That's why I did not ask you a second time.
I understand that.
I'm simply.
Godwin, the reason why now is why I chose to make exceptions is because now is when the exception presented itself. Had that boy truly been a witch with malicious intent, I would have been right there with you. I swear on it. The world is cast in shades of gray. I refuse to go full black and white, assuming this child is black just because he's in the tower of a wizard. You know, before I got exiled to this army, I was in a position of leadership myself. a higher station than yours. Truly. There was, and I say this in absolute humbleness, especially now where I stand, there was a non-zero chance that one day I could have been king. It was a very small one, but non-zero. And I lost everything I had because I decided to be callow and cruel. And I'm not willing to watch you make mistakes like that.
I understand.
I'm sorry I had to do it in a way that was upsetting to you. If there was any way if I had seen a better way, I would have went for it. But
Well,
it's a
much to
stressful
your
situation
wishes.
for all of us.
Much to your wishes, the boy is still alive. I'm
And
sure
as
you're
I-
very happy.
And as I said, if you wish to put me in front of a court once we return, I will happily take that hearing.
No. It's just the five of us here. Keep up the good work. And he sort of hangs back and
Right.
catches up with Rian somehow at some point.
Right. Very nice. Very, very nice. The journey is a long one again, and another dawn, another most of a day passes before you finally come to what you feel must be the crypt. It has to be. It's the only structure for miles in any direction. You stumble past torn down trees and withered grass and rock and rubble. So, yeah, I didn't give him a cocoa bar. You pass rock and rubble. And again, Rick, if you remember when the journey to Cassis' Tower took place, I noted to you that you noticed like the outlines of where buildings might have stood at one point. You notice this again as well. And this time you note that the rest of the group, it's not that they don't notice it, it's just that it's as innocuous to them as walking over grass. Entire cities completely flattened to the point of just having foundations left. Does not faze anyone in the slightest amongst the group. So now, the building that must be the crypt, this mausoleum of such. Oh, except perhaps Rick. Yeah, of course, that's up to him. But for the rest of you, it's just as innocuous as stepping over a rock or wading through a river. So. The mausoleum before you. There was a grand pedestal, a stone pedestal with an inscription describing who was buried here, but that pedestal is obviously broken, shattered, and whatever the plaque might have said has been worn away with age and weather. You find the plaque and the broken pedestal about 12 feet from the mausoleum entrance, but it's impossible to decipher. The place is a mixture of stone and wood here and there, where obviously repairs have been made or something like that. Metal at the appropriate places. There was obviously like some sort of portcullis or other metal gate that kept the dead inside, as it were. But the bars. The bars of the portcullis have sort of locked it sort of half up, such that any of you, even the shortest amongst you, would have to sort of squat underneath to get underneath it and come back out the other side, else get a very pokey metal bit in your head. So, what about Yilvis? No, not Yilvis. But it's like, yeah. So it's sort of down. Like, it's only about 3 feet high, so everyone else is going to have to sort of crouch to get under it. Obviously, Yovis being a fox is fine. He can just run fast.
He can run fast?
The crypt is huge. for a good reference point for all of you players.
When you say
imagine,
everyone
like,
has to squat down, is that assuming that bending these things out of the way or pushing them or breaking them is too difficult a feat or just not worth the time?
too
I feel
difficult
like
feat?
I feel
No.
like many might just do that just to say that I don't bend.
Right. No, you could definitely probably force the bars all the way up so that you didn't have to bend under them.
All right, then that's the very first thing Many does as soon as he gets there. Before maybe one or two, he lets Rian go on hands and knees and then lifts the bars.
All right. If you could make, I wouldn't even make you roll for it. Like, there's no pressure or resistance here. It's just a matter of it got stuck there. It creaks with rust, and the stone frame around the portcullis shakes a little bit as you do so. But it does lift enough that no one has to crouch under it now. So,
Too late.
except for me. And maybe else. This building, at least what you can see of it, is massive. And again, for a good reference point for all of you, imagine like an old, really well established like Catholic church, minus the stained glass windows and the steeple at the top. So if you shaved that off and just thought about the ground floor, the way that Catholic cathedrals tend to have sort of a large sort of square or circular amphitheater kind of set up in the middle, and then oftentimes sort of a square area around it that would be, the pastor's offices or vestibules or places to kneel down and pray or whatever. But that's sort of the image. Except rather than, bright and inviting or, a sort of a nice light wood color or the stained glass windows, like I said, it's all just emon black. And I'll also say for the player's benefit, again, this wouldn't even really cross the minds of the players because destroyed cities is innocuous to you. But obviously this mausoleum was once part of some big city. This was obviously meant to be like their crypt/graveyard. Rather than having like a traditional graveyard with tombstones out in a field, the dead was obviously gathered into this building.
They built down rather than out.
Exactly. And again, all of you who would have any reason to know about crypts or to have been in one here in this universe would know that this is only the ground floor of it. So there's only one story that you can see. It's a single story. There's no above floors, but all of you would be aware that it would go down at least 2 or 3 stories into the ground. And in fact, the closer you were to the bottom of the mausoleum, the more important you were. So the poor people would get buried up at the ground level, and then the super rich lords and stuff like that would get the 3rd floor down or 4th floor down or however big the crypt was.
Deserve some space on the reverse penthouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is part of sort of the general Arnvel religious system, is that like being further down is more revered. Less a way to travel to the afterlife and all of that.
Now, I do have a question in regards to that. Say you had so many important people that the 3rd level got full, and then you had more important people come over, and then you had to dig a 4th floor. Would those important people then be considered more important than the people on the 3rd floor, or would they have to move them down to the 4th floor?
They're dead, so it doesn't matter.
Keep on shuffling the bones up, set them down.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have like some sort of water system where you just like level it out and.
First of all, I think it would be very, if anyone shares this with Rick, I think it would be very rare for them to have to build an additional level.
Okay.
It's still medieval times, so the population of the whole world is still
like
very small compared to a modern day Earth. So a town of like 500 would probably be really big. So, and obviously the fact that like dozens and dozens and dozens of people are getting killed every day in this ongoing mage war probably means that high population areas are very rare. So it's not really something that comes up. And to even get in a crypt like this, you have to have some kind of money. So when I say like the poor people get on the ground floor, I'm not talking about peasants. The peasants and the farmers, their bodies just get left on the ground.
Oh, they're the outside pit. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. To
They're
even
the
get in-
fertilizer.
500. That's the capital. Yeah, exactly. The first floor would be considered lesser people, but like they'd be middle class, like someone who could
Okay.
afford a tombstone, but not like a big coffin.
Yeah, like a lowly merchant.
I
So-
appreciate the societal lesson.
Yeah.
We're
We're
building
building this whole society up. I'm like, what if they run out of room?
Well, they're dead, so they don't care.
But most of the
Just pack
dead,
them a little tighter.
most of the dead still get traditionally buried in dirt. Anyone in this crypt would have to have some kind of money or
Got it.
influence.
Bunk bed coffins.
And one crypt would serve as several towns back when it mattered.
Okay.
So that being said, all of you, even the most unbook-learned amongst Lionel, Rian, Godwin, and many would recognize this immediately as a big mausoleum. Anyone who was buried here would be a big deal. Knights of the Realm, minor lords, really good, like really successful merchants. Those would be the kind of people you would expect to be buried in a place like this. Most members of a witch hunter battalion would definitely not ever be able to see a crypt in death. They would definitely just get the shallow grave treatment if they could find the body. So anyways, that being said, all of you now stand. Many has lifted the portcullis up that all of you can enter. It's wide enough that obviously it was meant for funeral processions to proceed inside. So all 5 of you could stand in a single a single line across, like next to each other, and walk in to be fine. Just to give you a sense of how big the door is, because obviously it would be designed for someone carrying a big coffin and 20 whalers behind it or whatever. There's no sources of light inside. You can see sconce. Is that the word I'm looking for? The place that holds torches.
Sconces.
Yeah, sconces. Thank you. You can see sconces where torches could be held, but nothing is lit at the moment. At least not on the ground floor.
You say nothing is lit. Are they there?
Yes, there are torches in place, just nothing is lit.
Okay.
And a quick cursory glance inside, because you are getting some moonlight from outside, so you guys can sort of peer in from the doorway. Before you is a long stone hallway. Like I said, it's very wide because obviously it was designed for funeral processions. And you can see off to either side large stone walls. And you can kind of sort of make out that there's little... So basically imagine like cubby holes instead of like backpacks and shoes like in school. Each of these little cubby holes probably holds bones or cremated remains or something like that. That's what it looks like. This is like a crematorium basically. And there's little boxes, and then you can see there's little plaques underneath. Those that could afford plaques have like a little bit of metal, and you can see a name etched in. Others have just gotten a name etched in stone, and a lot of it's been weathered away. But you can make out a letter here or there. So, a long string of names that don't mean anything to any of you, but you can see that there's a lot of them. Every cubby is full. This one was obviously at capacity. Leaves the letter B. Okay, well, that's the area description. Unless you have any other questions about the area, I'll pass it back to you guys to decide how to move forward.
How much stuff is in the area? Rian's fingers are going crazy right now. If you looked at him, he's positively glowing.
Right. You don't notice anything lying out, but obviously, Rian, you would be aware that depending on how wealthy they would be, it would be customary to bury bodies with, or even crematorium remains, to bury them with goods from, their material life, a couple of coins or a treasured instrument or something like that.
You can restrain the pilferer.
Yeah.
The last thing we need is the dead's ire.
This isn't Rian's first ransack in here.
Grave rob? Yeah.
Nathaniel,
Yes.
could I make a hunt and track check to see if anyone has moved through this room recently?
Oh, yes. Please do.
And may I add my bonus for having Yildiz with me?
Sure.
$11.
Wow. Okay. Also choose one. Gain a useful bit of information about your quarry. The GM will tell you what. Or determine what caused the trail to end. Okay, so I'll describe that first, and then I guess you can choose your second option there. Yes. The answer is yes. You and Ylvis do surmise, scouting out the entrance and whatever. And the sort of first area, we'll call it the welcome foyer. That yes, people have been through here recently. It's all stone, mind you, but you can see like mud prints of someone who has obviously walked through mud or dirt and then traipsed through the hall here. They look like boots, so someone who was expecting to have to travel through that kind of condition.
Singular set of prints?
No, there's a few. You say maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
They're traveling in a formation similar to how you would travel. There was obviously one person in front, and then there was other people in the middle and someone in the rear. So it looks like they were, again, sort of moving with the intention to protect someone in the middle. And yeah, I'll let you ask one of your questions there for the choose one.
I don't think I need to. The way you describe that, party of 6, seems like they were protecting the person in the middle. That's enough for the first question, anyways.
Okay. All right.
So I'm assuming the trail doesn't end that I see. It just goes deeper. I mean,
Yeah.
it would end because it was just mud prints, but
Yeah, exactly.
it
Eventually,
seems to go deeper, though, yes?
it becomes thinner and thinner. It ends because it's mud, like you said, not because someone.
Then I guess I will ask a question. It is leading the direction that they would have to go further into the crypt? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's lots of other directions they could have gone. Like I said, the ground floor is massive. There's rows and rows and rows of these big stone walls with little cubbies. So if they had intended to just like visit a dead relative or something like that was up here, they could have wandered left or right, but instead they've gone straight to the back of the building towards where the stairs down would be.
All right, Godwin, it seems fairly recently there's been a party coming through here. 5, maybe 6. It seems they were escorting an important person. The trail tapers off because it's just mud prints, but it seems they were headed further in, deeper, that is to say.
Let's follow and be very careful.
Were the prints only on a trail, or did they stop and move anywhere else? Am I going to have to watch for traps?
It doesn't seem like they stopped to shuffle anything around, but again, it's just mud prints. They taper off quite quickly once the boots cleaned. Lost their tracking, as it were.
I may have to stay on the lookout regardless.
Do we wish to light any torches, Godwin? Or
No other way to see, is there?
not for anyone but Ylvis that I'm aware of.
Rick, can you see in the dark?
No, it was on. I think so.
Yeah, so Rick, as far as you're aware, you can tell like there's no lights in here, but it doesn't. You don't see the same way human eyes do. So it's not
exactly.
Yeah, so it just seems very dim to you as opposed to pitch black like it does for everyone else.
Is it like
that's what I was kind of like? I think so. I'm not in the dark a lot, except like with the past week.
It doesn't seem like anything like that. Rick doesn't really see exactly. Like he sees, and to be honest, Rick, as we've discussed in past sessions, hasn't really looked into how his biology works. But as far as he can tell, if it gets really dark, things sort of shift from him seeing people to seeing like outlines. It's more like so for him right now, it looks more like someone who's not wearing their glasses trying to look around. It's like blurry and obscured as opposed to being actually dark or light. He doesn't see light or dark. So
I see rock, rock, more rock.
So, outlines, huh?
Well, if I get stuck in a dryer, I'll make sure to call Step Bro.
No.
Let's light torches then.
Lionel starts moving around to a few of the sconces and uses his tinderbox to light some of the torches that are in them and passes them off to people. Provided they come loose. I assume they're not built into the walls, are they?
No, they come loose.
Yeah,
So
a lot of stuff back then used to be like little holders with torches in them type of idea.
Presumably the sconces are attached, but the torches are not.
Presumably, but presuming leads to bad places, so I figured I'd ask. I hand out torches.
Okay. And with the torches lit, you can see well enough. It's the same description I've said already. Yeah, like I said, Rick doesn't really need one. Everyone else, yeah, the torches is definitely a welcome aid. So, can I have a...
Yes.
Can I have...
All right, I'm running out of sandwiches.
Can you
I
make
can
a
have
trap
cheeseburger.
expert roll for me, please, Rian?
I can roll you trap expert.
Excellent. Please do.
We'll see if it works. Well, that's a 10 though.
Nice. Okay, so you hold 3. Suspend your
That'll
hold
do
as
it.
you walk through the area to ask these questions. Is there a trap here? And if so, what activates it? What does the trap do when activated? And what else is hidden here? So because you have hold 3, you can ask me all 3.
Is there a trap here? What activates it?
Okay, so answer the first question. As everyone else is lighting their torches, Rian, you start to make your way up and down some of the aisles, especially the ones that the other group did not travel along, and you start to sort of tiptoe your way towards the back, just scanning around. You're not getting on down to your hands and knees or anything, but you know the signs to look for. And you do notice one of the cobblestones that makes up the floor, right in front of the staircase downwards, is slightly different. Like it's inset slightly differently than others. You assume it must be a pressure switch. So that answers your first question.
Okay. He just calls, "Be careful over here. There's a pressure switch or something." What else is hidden here? I'm not going to be concerned about what the trap does at the second since I've already found it.
Right.
So if I avoid it, I'd like to know what else is available first. Greed is setting in a little.
Right. Well, like I said, you are well aware that a place like this is a great place for casual grave robbers to grab a couple of extra coins from a cubby or whatever, or try to find something personal. So you could try to peek in a few. You don't know exactly how Godwin will react to that, or many, or Lionel Rick for that matter. But you could attempt it. You also have no idea if there's anything worth grabbing or if someone else has already been over this place. So that's definitely an answer, but you'll have to gamble on whether you want to bother looking. As for anything else, you don't see anything else as hidden. But sorry, pardon me. You get a sense that because you rolled a 10 and you don't need the second question. You get a sense that the group that traveled through here aptly avoided this pressure switch. Like you watch the prince step over it and onto the stairs and then fade away, as Lionel mentioned. So they knew it was here, which tells you that they either established it or they've been here before and already knew about it. So I'll give you that info. And then you can decide whether or not you want to raid any of the things.
Well, I can wait on trying to... I can try to haul it off for another floor, considering this is still... pretty high up, I guess.
Rian knows that these are all the poor people. They didn't have anything
I
worth
know
stealing
that
anyways.
it will be less worth it to get cursed if I only get a couple gold out of it.
Right.
It's setting in. Like I've got to like stop myself a little bit here, but
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if we're alone, but the people who have already passed through here, surely they either set this trap or they are intimately aware of what may be in here and what may be forward or down. What direction is this considered?
Down.
Correct. Regardless. Be on your watch, gentlemen. There's more to this than meets the eye. And he steps over the step as demonstration and
Yep.
continues downwards.
Okay. Do the rest of you follow?
Yes, in the exact same manner that he did.
Yeah.
Okay. New rabbits there. Okay. Manny and
Make
Rick.
that very clear.
Are there any rabbits?
Want to do some
No,
animal
it
testing?
is the rabbit.
Oh.
Does Rick have a big enough stride to step over the trap?
Kirk, I thought the
Yes.
same thing.
Or does he have short, stubby legs to the point where he has to take baby steps?
Whoops. Rolls down, hits all the traps.
All the traps go off. Everyone else dies. He gets back up and he's like, sorry, guys. I might have.
Oh, man. Damn it, guys.
I
No.
did it again.
Guys, where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, what's all this red juice doing down here? Oh, God.
Up on the stairs.
Why does it keep happening to me?
Manny, do you also follow suit?
In terms of avoiding the obvious trap,
And
now that
coming
it
down
has
the
been pointed
stairs.
out to me,
Yeah.
I
everyone
do.
else. Okay. I set it off.
One thing before Manny does
yes.
that and follows down the stairs, though,
Mhm.
he wants to get a sense of the religious rites being followed here.
Mhm.
Presumably, there are a few different variations throughout Arnvel, maybe many. What am I seeing in terms of sigils in place, in terms of protections against the angry dead, if any?
Oh, interesting. Okay. So you note on some of the racks, we'll call them, where the cubbies are, that people have that there are some generic word inscriptions that are written at the top and bottom. They've been carved into the rock proper. And then again, obviously the ones who could afford it, that actually have like little metal plaques or whatever, they also have other words that have been other sigils that have been carved into their specific like door of their cubby. But not all
So,
have.
given that it was only the richer people, it seems like these are wards meant to protect them or do something good for them, as opposed
Yes.
to protect the outside world from them.
Mhm. They look like, yeah. You would recognize them from what you know of warding and rituals, that these are holding wards. They're to placate and keep everyone calm.
But
However-
they only applied to some.
Yes.
Hmm.
However, I will note that even the generic ones that have been described on the walls themselves, because you're the first one to ask this, and as I mentioned when you lifted the portcullis, the place sort of shook a little bit.
Right. Seems
the
not to
sto-
be in particularly
the-
good shape.
The stone is wearing really bad.
Mm.
And there's cracks all along the floor, and there's cracks all up the wall. Some of these cracks have run through where the wards have been chiseled into the stone.
Oh dear. A suggestion that this place has not seen any maintenance for a while.
Oh, yeah. Who knows the last time someone's actually
Came in here and
buried someone
refreshed
there.
anything.
Yes.
Mhm.
Clearly this party that Lionel spotted was not interested in that either, because, like I said, everything here is in disarray. There isn't crap scattered on the ground, but all of the stonework is all cracked.
Mhm.
So, There's gaps in the ceiling above you.
The war has run over this area and there's no one left anymore to maintain things.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Precisely. So you note that, but note that most of them have been cracked or worn away.
Then Many, as he makes his careful way down the stairs, pulls his blade.
Gotcha. Rick, I will also make a special note to you. Something happens as you pass the trap onto the stairs with the others and proceed down. It started to tingle a little bit when you entered the crypt, but you've been feeling weird ever since you tried to heal yourself a while ago, so you've kind of gotten used to it. But as you stepped over, you get the sensation of like ooziness again. That same sort of like you got up too fast dizziness that you were feeling before. It's not super intense, but it feels like you just got off a really intense roller coaster or one of those like spinny rides or whatever.
Nice. I usually am one of those.
Yeah.
It's very seldom I get to ride one anymore.
That's fine. So again, the sensation's odd to you. If Rick had a stomach, you would definitely think of like, you definitely think, oh, you're queasy. It's not quite that for Rick, but there's just a weird sensation you get.
Rick's thinking, man, only if I had monkeys to toss.
Yeah, exactly. If only you could toss your monkeys. That's a reference to another campaign. So it just oozes you out, and as you continue down the stairs, that sensation slowly transitions from like ooziness to what I would describe as like the heebie-jeebies. Not you're scared, but that something is like making you uncomfortable. Like you're in a really awkward conversation that you want to get away from or something. Like you're constantly like, or whatever, or something wet and slimy's fall on your lap or something.
Ew.
You're just like, you're getting that sense that just like, oh, I really don't want to be here. I really don't want to be here. So, and it sort of waves over you every couple of minutes. It's not constant, but every time you take like a big stride down the steps, it sort of goes, oh boy, I don't like it here. So.
Okay, so to clarify, I do have a big enough stride to make it over the trap.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the important thing.
Yeah. You made it over the trap.
What if all that and then the answer was no?
Yeah. You made it over the trap. You're making it down the stairs.
Okay.
Although I must note, for both Rick and everyone else, with every step that Rick takes, the stone steps do rattle a little bit, and dust gets kicked up. And
I am becoming one with the rock.
And every time, I'll just say this so I don't have to repeat it every 5 milliseconds, but anytime any of you do something particularly grandiose, or you move really quickly across somewhere, or you do something really aggressive, or just a heavy rock man, the building shakes a little bit. Like the foundation's not quite set like it should. And everything's covered in dust, so passing anything basically kicks up dust and pebbles and all of that kind of stuff. Things break off of the walls and chip. So just keep that in mind. This place is definitely in a state of terrible decay. So, when the 5 of you make it down to the bottom of the stairs, this area, again, you step out into sort of a vestibule / foyer kind of area. So there's a bit of empty space around you, and then 3 or 4 feet of just empty stone pathway, and then the crematorium cubbies now give away to what you would kind of traditionally see in a graveyard. Now there are areas sectioned off with actual headstones, and in the corners of the room are large stone coffins with carvings and statuaries. In fact, the room is littered with statues, some standing, some not standing anymore. Time and mistreatment have broken them. And for any of you who maybe have buried a loved one or be particularly familiar with the rituals of Arnvel, these statues aren't necessarily of a particular person. They're supposed to be like guardian spirits. to watch over the dead while they sleep kind of thing. Very ritualistic. Most of the statues in the room have crumbled, unfortunately, to time. And again, a lot of the headstones are cracked across one side or the other. So, again, the room is littered. There's every place where there could be a decently sized lot with a headstone has one. But it basically looks like your traditional graveyard, except you're 1 story underground. And everything's stone instead of there being pretty fields or whatever. And obviously, some rich people who weren't quite rich enough to make it to the next level, but were rich enough to get a corner of the room, have gotten a corner of the room. And they're instead of being under the stone and the headstone showing, there's actually a large stone coffin or sarcophagus that's surrounded by brass rails to keep people away from it. And then it's got various inscriptions on the sides. Corner office in the afterlife, fancy, yeah. So, as the final person who comes down the stairs joins the rest of you, and you all get a chance to look around the room, all of you suddenly feel a chill, including Rick, which again is very strange because normally he doesn't feel cold exactly. But there's a chill that comes across you, and as each of you shiver a little bit, you all look down and notice that all of your shadows have elongated much more than they should. And it's clear in a moment that the shadows that are passing over you are not yours. And we're going to pause here for our break, guys.
Damn it!
You
And
rat.
Nice.
Damn you, GM!
Look, it's just to get us through a commercial break. We'll get back and we'll find out it was nothing. So we're fine.
Don't
Hey,
worry
look,
about
if
it.
not all of us show back up, he can't continue.
Oh,
Ooh.
We'll never
It's not-
find out how horribly we're dying.
You're right.
it's 9:05. We'll see everyone at 9:15.
See you
Till
then.
then. Yep. All right, and we have returned. Where do we leave off? Oh yeah, we're all screwed. No, I'm just kidding.
About to die.
All of us
As
except
I-
Nathaniel are screwed.
Oh.
Shadow Clone Jutsu!
As I noted, all of your shadows begin to elongate, and in another moment you realize that it's not your shadows that are crossing over you. Each of you feel an icy chill. It's unpleasant, to say the least, and just a little tiny unsettling. At the same time, each of you gaze around the room, and the stone around underneath the headstones begins to crack and break as decayed hands begin to reach out from below the ground, and not just the ground below you, the walls on either side. Hands and legs and bodies begin to push and sort of shake the dust off and gather themselves into the room, and they all stretch like they've been in a long nap. For they have slept a long time indeed. The corner sarcophagi in the 4 corners the lids all slide off all at once. And decayed corpses, still dressed in obviously the necklaces and jewelry they were given at their burials, sort of hanging off of them loosely. Each of them stumble out, carrying whatever ceremonial daggers or instruments or devices they were buried with at death. And the mass of decaying undead that pile towards you is troubling, but at the same time, you continue to become aware of these shadows that fly by and sweep by, and every time they fly over you, there's just a shiver, like you've been shoved in an ice box ever so briefly but harshly, and then pulled back out again as the shadow runs over you. Every time it happens, you notice the color in your extremities drain a little bit. And for those of you who maybe are more nature inclined, you start to realize that you're suffering the first signs of hypothermia every time these deadly shadows swing overhead.
Pilferer, whatever you took, put it back.
I touched nothing.
The some of the creatures that begin to shamble towards you vocalize, but most of their throats have long since rotted away. Those who can call out things like rest, or interloper, or disturbed, or something like that.
I was going to ask if our torches seem to be affecting the shadows at all.
No.
No. Okay.
No. That's why you noticed it at first, because the torches
It's a little weird, yeah.
The torches would, of course, elongate your shadows, but this is way too much and way too strange. And the mass that passes over you really is just a mass. It's just sort of a block of black that flies back and forth across the room.
Well, as a rock person, Rick doesn't actually cast a shadow.
Godwin, I would like you to roll Bardic Lore for me, please.
Sir, yes, sir.
And you get a +1 from many, since many already took the time to note.
The wards have been damaged. This crypt is doomed.
Okay, while he's rolling that, GM, funny story. This entire time we're in the crypt, I'm thinking, man, this is like a pretty chill, like fantasy land. You know, it's like you got a little bit of magic, but not much. It's like low fantasy type of medieval setting. I'm like, no, he's not going to throw zombies or anything at us. It's just going to be like a empty crypt, and we're just going to go down, find a bunch of dead bodies, reapers here and stuff like that. I'll be like, yeah, that's cool. And yeah,
we don't know reaper's not here.
It's a little more high fantasy than I expected.
I watched going into lightning at a man.
All the other characters have made it clear that their entire world has been ripped apart by magic.
Okay, magic, sure, but none of you are magical, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is a very low fantasy type setting. Like, there's no way there's going to be zombies.
We're low fantasy characters in a high fantasy setting.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get.
How fucked we are.
Yeah,
exactly.
For the
Bardic Lore.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Is that a charisma roll, or is it a... Because it's Bardic?
I don't know. Can't you just click Bardic Lore? Won't it just roll if you click on it?
Or does it have you...
That won't let me
I see.
add
When you first encounter an important creature, location, or item, your call, covered by your Bardic Lore. That's the GM one question. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can go Charisma. That's fine.
Okay. And I'm adding
yes, I see now. The move was not very specific.
Yeah.
And you get a +1 from many, yes.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Okay. So, as many is already vocalized in character, it's very clear to you, Godwin, that the undead are restless because some of their wards have been broken. Although, you're not sure that you can put the statues back up, although maybe Rick can assist with that. You are aware of some of the inscriptions around the room, some of the plaques in the room, and those could at least be re-etched or re-established. And you're hoping that you remember enough of your ritualistic practices, or that some of you do, that you can help finish some of the uncompleted wards, and hopefully that'll placate the dead here. So, as somebody playfully suggested before we came back from the break, we are indeed playing Hangman. Bum, bum, bum. So, I have
somewhat appropriate to a crypt.
Somebody super nice, yes. Somebody super nice has created me a 3 sets of lines. So there's a 6-letter word, a 7-letter word, and an 8-letter word. What's going to happen is we are in combat initiative. This is a puzzle fight. On your turn, and I am going to give you some letters of each word Wheel of Fortune style to help you out a little bit.
R.L. Stein.
B.
On your turn, you have 2 options. You may call out a letter, and that is to abstract you participating in restoring the sigils in the room. Okay, what you're actually doing in universe is running over to one of the plaques and etching a sigil into the wall, or trying to fix a statue as best you can, or something like that. But what we're doing out of universe is finishing the hangman words, and each of the words will represent you restoring some part of the room. So on your turn, in the initiative order, we'll start with Godwin as usual. You have 2 options. Option number 1 is to call out a letter. Option number 2 is to engage the zombies before they swarm the group. Okay? So this is how it's going to happen. At the end of every round, I would like to solve. At the end of every round, the horde and the shadows will do damage to the entire group based on how many people defended the group. So the more people that defend against the zombies, the less damage the group will take. However, the longer it'll take to solve the puzzle. The more people who participate in solving the puzzle, the faster that'll get solved, but the more damage you'll take each round. So you'll have to decide which you're better suited to. And then hope things go well and that nobody dies before we solve all 3. But I am going to give you some of the letters to start. So please forgive my free hand here as I write in the letters. That is a U. I'm so sorry.
That doesn't look like me.
You can use the text tool.
Those are both D's. Okay?
All right.
Is the second line
That's an
supposed
S?
to have 7 or 8 characters?
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah. And if any of those letters are unclear, just ask. But those are the letters you get to start with. So Godwin, the ball is yours. So you may choose to go first, or you may decide who goes first.
Just before we get started there, Nathaniel.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do believe you know the words, that doesn't actually change what we have to accomplish. You just get to call out one letter at a time.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if I've figured out the word is blah blah blah. If it's vanilla, you still need to do one letter at a time because that's as much time as you have during your turn, right? Because this is all happening in the seconds.
I would also like to clarify. Just because these letters are already on the board doesn't mean there's not more of these letters, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So there could be another D, or there could be another C, etc.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And what happens if you guess an incorrect letter? That just waste your turn.
If you guess an incorrect letter, you'll see.
You die.
Oh, you'll see. All right.
All
and
right,
do you have to buy a vowel?
No. You just pick any letter you'd like, and
All right.
and you can also pick when you call out the letter. Please tell me which line it's for.
I see.
All right.
All right. So Godwin, you may start or decide who starts.
I'll start.
All right.
And I shall start alphabetically on the first line with A.
Very good. There is an A.
Question.
Yeah.
Usually in most Hangman, if you guess a letter, it applies to all the letters that may appear.
Yes, that is not the case.
This is a different
This
game.
is hardcore Hangman. You get one letter from one word, and that's it.
Wow.
This is
Dead man.
So.
This isn't Hangman. This is Dead Man.
Dead man. Mm.
Yeah, much more intense. All right, Godwin. So you managed to make your way over to... I'm not going to do this description every single time, but you managed to make your way over to one of the worn-out sigils and managed to carve in a single character into it.
And it's actually a perfect representation of the Times New Roman capital A.
Nice.
Beauty.
Perfect. It just happens to be that way that those two things aligned between those two universes, yeah.
I was thinking Comic Sans would probably be the thing that deters the dead the most. But
That's right.
They like papyrus.
All right, Godwin, pass the puck.
I'll pass it to Lionel.
All right, Lionel. So defend the group or carve a letter?
I will be carving a letter. I do have a question, though.
Yes.
And if you can't answer this, that's fine. Would it behoove us to finish a word before we start another one? Or does actually finishing a word do nothing for us?
It's impossible to know until you finish a
Understood.
word.
All right, I will go for the first line, and the letter I will choose is E.
E. Again, I apologize for my freehand here, but there is an E.
That's an
Okay.
F. Oh, never mind. You got it.
All right, Lionel, pass the puck.
I will pass the puck to Rian.
All right. Rian, defend a group or carve a letter?
Rian steals.
Rian is considering stealing things, actually, though.
Yeah. I thought you might.
Yeah, Rian is much more considering stealing
I did
things.
mention the zombies in the corners were dripping with diamonds and so on.
They were
so-
dripped out.
I'm aware.
And flash.
Reeling gold.
Yes, and flesh.
And
some
vital
key package
fluids.
stuff.
Not to mention bile.
Oh, I love the bile.
You'll buy a lot of stuff with that.
We could. Sorry, I'm also adjusting the stream so people can see the puzzle we're doing since it's a visual puzzle. Yeah, I kind of want to steal stuff. Sorry, guys.
Oof. Well, I'm sure there won't be any repercussion later on for that.
I'm sure that there's going to be so many repercussions, but you know what? I can't do anything about that.
Richard, do you feel like your character would try to resist this innate thing, or do you think you would just go for it? Like it's too much to resist at this
The problem
point?
is he did it once already.
Right.
Like,
Right,
we're in the
yes.
middle of a thing, but, like, this
Yeah.
is compulsive. You can't
Yes,
stop it when
I
it
understand.
rises, right?
He saw something shiny. Now he needs to add it to his nest.
He saw something shiny.
Yeah.
I have to say that he's going to go and try to steal stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I would like you to roll whatever your stealing one is. That tricks of the
Tricks
trade?
of the trade.
Yeah, please
That's
roll
a 10. Oh, thank God.
that. Okay, good. Rian bails out of the formation you guys have sort of made in the center of the room, and you run to left or right, Rian?
Left.
Left. You run to the left side, and as one of the zombies is piling out of his coffin, you manage to grab one of the gold chains from around his neck and shove it into a pocket. He takes a swipe at you, but luckily enough, you're able to sort of run backwards fast enough. You sort of get across the tile a little bit, but you seem safe for the moment. So
Keyword moment.
you are now alone though, because the rest of the group has taken up a position in the center of the room. So keep that in mind. Okay, and please pass the puck. Manny or Rick?
Pass that over to Minnie.
Okay, Manny, defend the group or carve a letter?
Your poor fool has gone to his death. Probably for the best.
And Minnie turns away from Godvin and the puzzles and readies the edge of his blade to, I don't know, sharpen it on some rib cages.
Very good. Hack and slash and a +1 because there's just so many zombies. It's pretty hard to miss.
Pretty hard to miss. All right, no missing then.
And it's a 12.
Ooh, that gives me something special. Hold on a second here.
Okay.
He gets a double critical and kills you through the screen, Nathaniel. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
These things happen.
Man.
Why did I give him that
Should have read my
ability?
character sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only do you have to buy a new monitor, you also have to buy a new Nathaniel.
Oof. Those are
There we go.
expensive.
Smash. Whenever you hack and slash on a 12 plus, deal your damage and choose something physical your target has. A weapon, their position, a limb, they lose it.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm
Okay.
going to select their heads for as many zombies as you have elected for me to hit.
All right. So you may roll your damage, and at your option, you may choose to do +1 die 6 damage, but expose yourself to the enemy's attack.
No, it's fine. I'm taking their heads. Everyone knows
Alright.
you got to go for the heads.
All right. So roll your damage. You take their heads on this with your move called Smash, which I see is little
Alright.
taps. Very nice.
Whether or
Didn't
not
roll
he
much
can do
damage
it
on
with
that one.
zombies, I'm pretty sure Minnie would just go for the head anyway. It seems like that's his move.
I'm going to trigger my ability.
Okay.
Once per battle, you may reroll a single damage roll, yours or someone else's.
Oh, nice.
Neat. Let's try this again.
Nice teamwork. Hey,
Much
that's
better.
Much
And then add
better.
them
Right.
together, right?
Ah, nice job. Nice.
Good
to-
job on the teamwork.
So
Nice
in
save.
universe, Rick is like, many, they're short.
Ah, Yeah.
Right.
Cut lower.
Yeah. Cut lower.
And Many does the back sweep with
That's
his
right.
sword.
Just giving them haircuts before.
Mhm.
Send
Nice,
them off
very
looking
cool.
nice.
Scalp first, and then the neck.
Half a dozen zombies' heads go flying up into the air and plop with a terrible icky sound as they hit the stone ground. The bodies shamble forward for a few more seconds and then also slump over. Oh, you've cut the group that's immediately around the four of you in half. So very cool.
Yes, I have.
Literally cut them. Hee 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 hee.
But they've now doubled.
Yeah, they've all done
Hydron
my
bees.
toesies. All right, and then obviously by default the puck passes to Rick. Carve a
Okay.
letter or defend the group.
Out of character question. If we know some of the words, would it be wrong to post those in chat?
Yes.
Yes.
It could.
Okay.
I think it's
could
unsporting.
be-
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't know what its
why I
second
asked.
letter's going to be, Kirk. It could be
Yeah.
anything.
Up dead.
No.
Up dead.
Oob.
What's
Up
up dead?
Oh no, it's Ubdiad.
Yeah, there we go.
It's ancient Elven, guys. Ubdiad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These these were
Then
English words.
Then the next one's an apostrophe.
Don't do that because I
Okay.
already know what one of the other words is too.
No, that's fine. I was just like, are we able to help each other?
Yeah, no, it's a
like
good
if we
question,
know
but I
the
don't think
words.
so.
So
I
okay.
think in universe it's going so fast that you don't have time to be like, oh no, carve this sigil. It looks like that. So
Okay, well, it was less of like in character helping, more so like
I know,
players
but
helping guests.
I know,
Yeah.
but I don't want to separate it too much.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
While Rick's seeing the dumbass go and steal shit,
He also goes to steal.
I'm going to try and clear a path towards him, and in essence, try and protect him
Okay.
if I can.
Sounds like you need to roll defend, please.
Well, I was thinking more like clearing the way.
Yep, I understand, but I still would like you to roll defend.
Oh, not hack and slash?
Oh, so you're actively fighting them? It sounded more like you were just trying to push your way towards Rian.
I was trying to like clear my way to him, and then
He wants to hack and slash in the direction that Rian's at.
Okay, well, so
Sort
I'll,
of.
give you, I'll boil it down to this. If you roll defend, you might get to Rian. You will definitely get to Rian if you roll a 10 or whatever.
okay.
If you roll hack and slash, you'll probably carve through some zombies, but won't make it to Rian.
I see. Well, my intention was to kind of save his stupid ass. Rick is a lot more polite in
This is
universe than that.
This is very much a Hydra scenario. Like every zombie that goes down to take its place.
That's
so it's
fine,
only a
yeah.
matter of time.
Okay,
before
no, that's
they-
fine. That's fine. So yeah, I would go to try and help Rian out from getting zombified.
Okay, well then I would like you to roll defend, please.
I'm a zombie snack.
I haven't gotten eaten yet.
Yet.
Keyword yet. Okay.
Nice. Right, so hold 3. So long as you stand in defense, when you or the thing you defend is attacked, you may spend hold 1 for 1 to choose an option. Those are the options you can choose. So you don't need to use them now. You have 3 hold. You can use them when necessary.
Mhm.
Okay, and we come to the end of the round. Rian, you are going to take a lot of damage. Luckily, Rick is there for you.
No, I'm not. I rolled a 10. I'm fine.
Yeah.
For
You're fine
Stealing.
there, but you're
Yeah, I
alone.
stole it. I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry
I
about
rolled
it.
10.
and now they're gonna
Um,
steal some of your
They
health.
don't even know I'm there.
You stole a necklace, they steal your soul. Sorry. It's just how a cookie crumbles.
I would like give me 1 second, sorry. Okay. I would like the entire group to take 4 damage, piercing 1. Rick, you may choose to use a hold to help out Rian.
So what does piercing do additionally?
It
Does that
ignores
mean-
1 armor.
Oh, then it would just be 4 straight damage. Okay.
If
If
your
you
armor is
had
1.
one armor, yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, I have 1 armor.
Yeah. So 4 damage, piercing 1. So you may.
I just realized I was muted, and I'm like, why are they talking over me? I'm trying to talk. I'm like, oh,
No.
We're
Sorry.
rude as hell.
no, that's fine. So I'm actually going to spend 2 hold.
Okay.
I want to half the attack's effect,
Okay.
and deal damage to the attacker equal to my level, which is 4.
Nice. Okay.
And I did have this thing which was plus 1d4 damage forward on the next damage roll, but I'm not rolling damage, so I still keep that, right?
You still keep that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the damage roll specifically. Okay, so
Okay,
that's
that's
you
fine.
or the thing you defend is attacked. Yeah, okay. Alright, so Rick and Rian, the damage to the two of you is 2 damage, piercing 1. And Rick, you managed to 4 damage? You managed to slam 2 zombies together like action figures and they go plop. You know what I mean? Like you smack them together like a kid smacking his action figures together. They go
Brick smash. No.
big smash, that's right.
This is the sound of what would have happened to Rian if I wasn't there.
That would have been
So.
fine.
I don't know if that comes to the mic, but I made like a
No, it was me opening
Got
this.
that, actually.
All right. Top of round 2, back to you, Godwin.
You are muted.
I am. Goodness me, how I am low on health.
You should be praying to your god now.
You're
I'm
fine.
going to. Nope. I'm not.
Oh, you should
Don't
try and
even
heal.
worry about it. No one's ever needed more than
No,
one.
no. Try and heal the dead guys. We all know how this works. Come on.
Yeah, I'll perform my arcane art
Gotcha.
as a healing song.
Right. Yeah, and you
What
have
does
a
the
move,
sound song like?
and you have a move that lets you heal HP yourself.
It's going to have to be a
when you do
real
that, right?
short song. Maybe a jingle.
Heal
Beamer.
health, like heal myself.
Yeah, so healing song. It says when you heal with Arcane Art, you heal plus 1d8 damage. So that's what I'm saying. So,
I'll
So,
do that.
yeah. So go ahead and roll Arcane Art. Let's start with that. It's a 7. Okay. And you want to do the heal 1d8 damage thing. Your spell still works, but you draw unwanted attention or your magic reverbers to other targets.
Draw unwanted attention, eh?
All right. So I would like you to
Heal
roll
the
2 die.
zombies, huh?
I would like you to roll 1d8 twice. Christian, once for the group and then once for yourself.
/R. I always forget this, or r/.
/R.
Slash R.
Yeah.
Yeah, for commands you always want the slash first.
Neat.
Okay, so the entire group may heal 3. Godwin may heal 5.
Ooh.
Okay, once everyone's made that appropriate adjustment. Yes, and as the magic reverberates from your medallion, Godwin, and the area sort of smokes up, you realize that as the undead start to claw the way out of the ground, several of them seem to be eyeing you specifically.
God damn it.
And one of the lawn shadows comes to try to rest over you. So we'll see how that happens at the end of the round. But very good. Please pass the puck.
I will pass to many.
All right. Manny, defend the group or carve?
Many, having cleaved through a bunch of undead, finds himself on the back swing, looking towards one of the most basic of the runes. You and I know this one. And he inscribes a line going up, one on a diagonal down, another line up at the end of the diagonal.
And on the first line?
On the first line.
Right. That would be that would be an N.
I don't know. Is that a letter? I don't remember that being a letter.
Bum bum bum! You got the first word, which was undead. Dun, dun, dun.
What?
So there we go. I also want to make this clear. I'm pretty sure everyone understands this, but these are obviously abstraction words. You're not actually carving undead into a plaque. It's the name of something or just random sigils or mystical markings, but that's what we're using for ourselves.
An
So.
N is a common looking enough sigil in things that can be used as like a rune or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Manny. Our first word is complete, and as you complete that one, the one of the corner sarcophaguses slides closed. One of the lawn shadows that had sort of lingered over the group dissipates, and you notice that several of the undead, well, they can't go back into the earth that they clawed out of, or the wall or the floor, but they just sort of slump over, motionless. So, If you had to guess, you would say you've thinned out the room about a third.
Neat.
All right, Manny, please pass the puck.
I will pass the puck to Rick.
Rick, okay. Rick, defend the group or carve a letter?
As Kirk would like to carve letters, it doesn't seem appropriate that Rick would know anything.
Fair enough.
So I am going to, now that I'm by Rian,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and push the advantage and attack some zombies.
Okay, hack and slash, please.
Hey, that's what I was hoping to hear.
Huh.
Roll parlay.
You cut that
Okay.
into a word.
Punch and punch for you, but you know.
It can slash. Okay, yep.
Don't you know the
Sorry,
pen
Ian.
is mightier than
I'll take the penis mightier.
the rating
Wow.
of 500.
Trebek.
Are you kidding me, Trebek? If that's real, I'll take a dozen.
All right, so 7, so you deal your damage to enemy. Enemy makes an attack against you. So please
Okay.
go ahead and you roll your damage.
Roll my damage. Where the hell's my damage? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I want to roll that, and then I need to roll an additional d4.
Okay, so
10
that is 10.
with piercing 2.
Gotcha. All right. Your fists make quick work of another group of zombies that are inching closer to you and Rian. They go flying towards the wall, but they sort of break apart in their decay before they even hit it. Instead, just slumps of flesh and bits of bone hit it instead. However, they do attack you back.
Oh no.
That is a 6 to you.
Okay.
No piercing on this one.
Good thing I took that upgrade last time.
All right, and please pass the puck. We have Lionel and Manny, I believe. Sorry, Lionel and Rian.
I'm actually going to go again. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I use Captain Queen's move to give him another turn.
Well, let's pass it to Rian.
All right.
All
right. Defend the group, or carve a letter, or whatever else you're going to do. Crazy hijinks.
Well, I've already stolen something and almost died, and then Rick saved me, so now I'm scot-free. I'm gonna see if I can carve a letter into the wall.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. When you said now you're scot-free, I'm like, oh, you.
Time to grab another necklace.
No, I'm scot-free. I can just bounce over to a thing and carve in a letter and see if I can get this going.
Please give me a letter.
I'm gonna go with a P on this one.
Second line?
Correct.
Yeah. Very nice.
We're getting there.
Forgive my P. All right. And by default, that passes to Lionel.
Wait, hold on. I pass it to Lionel.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I have two things I kind of want to do. One of them is carving a rune. The other one is I want to try something that isn't necessarily a move. So I'll have to dicker with you over what this might be.
All right.
I noticed that, like, Lionel would have noticed that Godvin is severely hurt after that last round of attacks.
Uh-huh.
And is there something I could do to take the attention off of him when the attacks come around? Maybe start yelling, I don't know, piss in a grave, something like that.
Piss in a grave. That's great.
Actually, my move urinate.
Unless you have a move that is specifically about provoking the enemy, no, I don't think
I
so.
had a feeling that was the case, but I had to at the very least check.
Yeah, like Manny, for example, has a move like that.
All right. In that case, I will carve a rune on the second line, and it will be an E.
It will be an E, and an E there is. Okay. Because you picked a letter that has a duplicate on this line, I'll give you a hard choice. I'll allow you to suffer 4 damage, ignoring armor, and you can carve the second E this round as well.
Okay, I will do that, but
Okay.
I also would like to ask about. Oh no, wait, ignoring armor. Never mind. I was going to say I have a thing where I can add Yovis's armor to my armor, but
Right.
if it's armor, I thought it was just like cut the damage. But yeah, I will carve the both of them. Yes.
Well, you just use Yelvis as your armor, and he takes all the damage.
And you said 4, right?
4, yes.
Okay.
All right, but you get both E's this round. Good for you. Bum ba bum. Okay, so the second line is almost finished, and that is the end of the second round.
Spectacle.
So
You're right.
I would
My
like
A lot of
letter
letters on that
apple.
one line, that's all.
I would like everyone to take 3 damage, 1 piercing, except for Godvin. Godvin takes 4, please, because they are a little bit more focused on your amulet.
Okay, so just to make sure, if I have more armor than damage, I only take the one that pierces. Correct?
No, piercing only. What piercing does basically is it lowers your armor by 1 for the attack.
Oh, okay.
So if after your armor is lowered, you still soak all the damage, you take nothing.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, piercing 1 means it ignores 1 armor. Piercing 2, 2
Okay,
armor. So
sorry. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was like it just goes through armor.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So if you're still able to soak it after the 1 piercing, then you don't do it. Nothing happens to you.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nothing happens to me, guys.
Zombie claws just go
except for this special end of round damage, I presume everybody takes regardless of armor.
This damage I just said was 3 piercing 1.
Oh, it is 3 piercing 1. Okay.
Yeah, so the first round damage I wouldn't have actually taken then, so that's fine because that was already healed anyway. So
yeah, the only damage so far that anyone's taken that just completely ignored armor was what Lionel took.
Yep.
So that is because again one of the shadows passed over him.
I was given a choice.
Ooh.
So. And Godvin doesn't have armor, so I didn't specify it for him.
Did he just get shadowed? Damn.
So, yeah, he took 1 less than he healed. But he is horned, yes. Back to the top. We're at the top of round 3, Godvin.
Godvin carves another rune.
Okay.
He
Second line?
Yes, the letter R.
And that is the correct letter. It is the word spectre. And before
wrong.
anyone says anything, that is the British spelling.
I was hoping it was spelled correctly that way too.
Oh my!
That was.
Are we in a British?
Spectre T-E-R is the American spelling. Spectre T-R-E is the British spelling.
That was why.
So this is the correct
E's.
spelling then.
I didn't know which spot it went in, so I had to get them both at the same time.
Yeah.
In case Nathaniel asked.
Yes.
Yeah, are you saying we are in a British crypt? Oh my!
Golly good.
And
Golly
blow-
great.
All back.
Holy jud, good sir!
Another one of the shadowy specters dissipates. And another third of the rotting corpses that are attacking the group fall to the ground, slumped. Interestingly, Godvin, you notice that one of the bodies that falls to the ground is much fresher. Actually, wait, there's more than one. There's 6.
Oh.
Oh. The party Lionel tracked. Obviously, this is as far as they made it.
Well, at least they have a good resting place.
As they fall to the ground, motionless, you realize that they were much fresher than all of the other corpses down here, but obviously they weren't not so fortuitous to escape this room. And neither have you guys yet. So, onwards. Please pass the puck.
I pass the puck to Rick.
Okay, Rick.
Okay, so Rian's actually helping. That's great. So I don't need to pummel his face.
Thanks.
Doesn't need to be clobbering time.
I
Oh,
do
man,
a
if
good
I ever-
job over here, all right?
If I ever accidentally say that, please kill me. not me, but Rick. Please kill
Yeah,
Rick.
it's clobbering. If you ever say it's clobbering time,
It's
yeah.
clobbering time. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Try not to be that stereotype, okay?
Not only will I kill Rick, but I'll probably like retroactively kill all of your characters.
It's
So.
unfortunate that that's actually the solution of the next Hangman puzzle we get.
Then unfortunately, after Rick dies, Nathan's like, sorry, Rick falls and you die, guys.
Yeah, right, exactly. Rick's fault. All right.
Sorry.
What do you do, Rick?
What's the scenario look like? So there's a bunch that have fallen down.
There's one remaining shadowy creature flying around, making people cold, which you can't really fight because it's just insubstantial. There is another dozen or so zombies, but I would say, about a third of what you started fighting, because 2 of the words are done. And they're scattered all about the room. Most, though, are focused in the center around Godwin and Many, and Lionel. You and Rian are off to the left because you went to join them.
Gotcha.
So,
Question: If I throw,
it's still crowded enough that basically you could punch in any direction and you could get
okay.
something. So.
If I throw enough pebbles at Godwin, will that heal him?
No, not unless they're healing pebbles. But no.
They're Rick Love pebbles.
Well, he'll feel the love and then you'll take damage.
Okay.
Are those trademarked? Because we can.
So seeing
those at entropyincreases.com.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Okay, so seeing that Rian's out of immediate danger, I want to try and get in the way of Godwin versus Zombies, which is a movie coming out this fall.
Nice.
And basically do what I did for Rian by trying to not have him die.
Okay, roll what you did for Rian then, please.
Hack and slash.
It was defend.
Parlay, right? Okay. Spout lore, yep.
That's it.
6.
Oh dear.
I just really wanted XP.
No holds,
so
no hold. So you don't get any holds. Yeah. As you start to move your way back towards Godwin, the black shadow passes over you. And you find yourself just frozen for a moment. It really does. For you, it doesn't feel like anything, but it literally does feel like you got frozen, like you're covered in ice. And then, as the shadow passes again, you're moving again. In the heat of battle, now you're too far away from Godwin to protect him against his next attack. I'll give you a choice. You can take 4 damage, which ignores your armor, or you can mark 1 debility.
Can I just let it go?
No.
It's a fair question.
It's a fair question, though.
Damage or debility? So under the charisma one, is that scarred or scared?
It looks like it's scarred.
Scarred.
Yeah, I guess the idea is your face
mentally
is now ugly,
or emotionally
so...
scarred, or
it would have to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
There should be a capital N in spot.
You've taken a hit, so you can't talk very well.
Yeah, or whatever. Or you have a big scar, so you're not as pretty, so people don't like you as much, or whatever. However you want to think of it.
Hey, no, let's just take the 4 damage. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't have much HP left though, so.
Ooh. Please pass the puck.
So it was Godwin then me.
Yep.
Yes.
So Many, Rian, and Lionel are all available.
Let's pass it to Lionel.
Okay, Lionel. Carve or defend.
Before you continue, Nathan, can you do me a favor and erase the ends and then put a nice fresh end there?
Yeah.
But that's such a cool room.
As soon as I find the eraser, I will.
You should be able to just you can drag it over and then just delete it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There.
Hey.
That's fine. There we go.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Lionel, carve or defend?
Well, I guess I will carve. I'm counting. Give me a second. No, I will. I will carve in the remaining line. The rune T.
E?
T, as in Thomas.
Oh, T. Sorry, my bad. Yep. Just if
That
I
would have
say this
been
wrong,
a nightmare.
Yeah.
E as in Thomas.
Yeah, I was like E as in Thomas.
Guys,
E is in Almus.
There is a T, so there you go.
I'm very confused now because if it's the word I think it is, it shouldn't have 8 letters.
Well, we'll see.
It's probably not the word you think it is then.
It's the British spelling.
I am so confused.
I don't think so.
That's why I'm not carving, because Kirk is confused, not only Rick. So.
Oh, and I will pass the turn to Many.
Many. Okay, Many, carve or defend?
I have a meta question. So you
All right.
allowed Lionel to carve 2 letters when they were the same letter.
Yeah.
Is that option open to everyone?
Yes, if you pick a letter that has 2 on this line, I will let you do the same thing.
All right. In that case, Many, who's already clearly at least passingly familiar with the sigils that tend to be used for keeping the restless dead at bay, turns to the longest of the and most complicated of the various wards around here. Install this one. But I know how it works. And I am going to select A.
A is a letter. And I will give you the same option I gave Lionel. 4 damage, ignoring armor, to carve the second.
Yes, I will take the murder.
All right.
What?
Bum, bum, bum.
I was like, what?
Damn
No,
it.
hold on. Yeah, there you go.
That's bugging me now. How can I not guess that?
Because it wasn't what we expected, Kirk, and that's the trick.
All
Aha.
right, that's the end of the round. So.
Wait, no, doesn't Rian get to go?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Rian. Yeah, your turn. My bad. Sorry about
I
that.
did get skipped. I should get 2 letters for that. No.
Back to you. Carve or defend.
I will carve.
Okay. The letter,
I
please?
would like to carve an S into the second available line, please.
Yes, it's an S. You don't have to call it the line. You can just call it the letter.
Ooh, unfortunately, the second available line was Spectre, and it is completed. So
No, there's an
You
S
had
on
an
there
S.
anyway.
Yeah, the S. You had an S to the end. Now it's specters, and more ghosts appear.
no. Wait, there were ghosts? I thought they were just zombies.
Yeah, the black. Oh, I was implying the black things that were flying around.
I had a
shadows.
Yeah. So.
Josts.
All right. That is the end of the round. Sorry about that, Richard. Okay. The room starts to shake, and you get the sense that all of these things clawing out of the stone and the walls and the ceiling and the floor have not done a very good service to keeping the crypt structurally intact, and it starts to shake pretty vigorously. You've thinned out the group enough that none of the zombies are able to really inflict any damage, but the black shadow flies over each of you. Everyone takes 1 damage, ignoring armor.
Man, what's all this armor good for anyways? Jeez. Stupid.
Good God, y'all.
We're back. We're top of round 4, I believe, Godwin.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, you should defend. Nobody knows what that last letter is. It's so weird.
No, it has no one knows. Maybe Q, maybe?
Q.
It's already complete. Phantasm.
Yes, an L. No, it's
Plantasm.
Is it planned? Maybe it's Phantasm.
Put an H Baby.
Put an H. Let's do it.
Phantasm.
I want to see an H on the board.
And then finally, of course, it was Phantasm.
Isn't that-
Ba-ba-ba.
No, that's
Phantasmic.
Phantasm.
Phantasm. And as Godwin finishes carving the final rune into one of the protector plaques, the remaining walking dead slump to the ground motionless. And the final shadow that flew over the group dissipates.
Careful what you call them. We don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
And the room is quiet, except again for the rumbling of the poor structure of the crypt, which is not great. As the room starts to clear and the remaining walking dead, stumbling dead, they're more stumbling at this point because of how much the room was shaking, slumped to the ground, Godwin, you suddenly feel a tug. It's metaphysical at first, but there's sort of a literal aspect to it. You feel a little bit like the medallion has gotten just a tad heavier. And as you kind of like let your torso and neck be guided by it, you naturally turn towards the stairs, continuing downwards.
Everyone's like, those are easy words. And then the GM follows up with, so whoever drew those lines, I would like them to start with a 14, a 21, and a 73. Yes, 73.
104?
All right, let's continue forward then.
Well, ever done, everyone. You beat my hangman puzzle. Yay!
Before
Hooray!
Thank you.
You
Hang to this
solved my
man.
hangman puzzle.
Before we continue forward,
Yes.
Would it be
Yeah.
possible for Lionel to investigate the fresher bodies that we're trying to move through?
Yes, absolutely. I won't need, you don't need to roll for them. You're good enough at this by now. The mud on some of their boots, the dried mud, confirms either that or another group of very fresh corpses had mud on their boots. The dried mud on their boots seems to confirm that this was the group traveling through. And you can also confirm that the group actually was dressed similar to the apprentices you saw at Cassis, except rather than bearing his colors, the colors on his standard, they're dressed in a different set of colors. So Cassis's colors, I'll just mention, were blue and red. So the robes they were wearing were sort of blue with splashes of red. These ones are yellow-green. But in terms of design, they're very similar.
Potentially, could the group spout lore to see if we're aware of this wizardly champion?
We might not know Cassius, yeah.
Anyone who wishes to, yes, may roll spout lore to see if
Hell
they know
yeah.
anything about this person.
Can I even roll for it?
Sure. Maybe you've seen the standard somewhere.
Ylvis is a witch hunting fox, so can I add his cunning to this? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know shit.
Well, I think that still makes some sense in the universe, I suppose.
Do I get XP?
Well, gets a 6. Yep. Everyone who rolls under still gets XP.
Oh my god.
I think
Yes.
it's a 7, Ring is 8. Chris, are you rolling or are you abstaining from this one?
Let's roll.
XP,
roll.
XP, XP,
I was thinking
XP,
5 missed
At
Hey,
worst, you
last
get
time.
XP, yeah.
Boop.
Let me see.
There it is.
Cool! Only me and Christian know. Yeah!
I have no freaking
I
clue.
have no idea. You've actually lost interest already.
Actually,
Right.
my roll and Chris's roll combined equals a partial success. So both of us know one of those colors, but not what they do combined.
I have forgotten what the question is.
Green?
Godwin and Rian, you don't know because you don't have the standard here, just the mix of colors. But two things give away that this is probably an entourage of a mage named Geralda, Mistress of Water. One is the colors of their robes. The other is the fact that a very pretty woman who looks to be in her she was pretty, who looks to be in her late 30s, early 40s, is amongst the corpses.
Gentlemen, her driver's license says Geralda.
She's double parked outside.
Hmm.
Godwin,
Yes. Yes, sir. Sorry.
this seems to be the colours and standard of Geralda.
Yes, I saw it too. How strange. I suppose
Strange that such a wizard would succumb to this trap.
precisely. I suppose we're all mortal at the end of the day.
It could be that she was surprised. And many doesn't put away his blade just yet, but instead gestures towards the stairs with it. There's no reason to believe that these corpses are the only thing we have to face here.
Well, let's see what else this has in store for us. Nothing can take us down, right?
Speaking of down, I think
Many just raises an eyebrow to that one.
I think before we continue, I should try and stabilize the walls.
If you think it's what you should do, then I'm not in control of you.
Great. So I just want to try and spend a moment, kind of like it's a lot of communing with stone in this campaign for some reason. I don't know
it's
why.
almost like it's almost like I knew this to be a rock guy.
Almost like you're a big rock guy what does things with stone.
Instead of like absorbing it, I'm still at that phase where I'm exploring the extent of my powers, right?
Yes, of course.
As discussed in Facing the Future. So I want to, instead of absorbing the rock, I want to kind of like commune with it in a way to reinforce itself.
Okay. I will say before, even as you just start to sort of reach out to it, that remember that you're still experiencing that weird wash of heebie-jeebies. You get a really, really strong sense this stone does not like you. If you continue, you might be successful, but there's something about this structure that does not seem to tolerate your presence.
Well, Crypt, you and I are going to have a long conversation after this, because I was trying to invite you to a coffee and you just said, haha, ghost you later.
Didn't even leave her number, man.
Godwin, no dice there, so whatever we do, we better make it quick. Or else we call this our home.
Let's be hasty then.
The group continues to move down the stairs. Rian, I will make you roll for this, Rian. Rian actually spots another one of the pressure plates on the stairs, but now knowing what to look for, you spot it almost immediately, and the group's able to sidestep it.
Is this plate wider than the other one? Can I still go over it?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Who built this? Put the pressure plates in the same spots. Amateur.
Architects, they're not very creative.
You come down into the third floor, and you make your way back you start making your way into the center of the room out from the little vestibule where the stairs are. And you come into another grand hall. Or, well, you imagine at one point it was probably pretty grand. There's large stone stumps where you can only imagine there were giant statues of gold or some other precious metal bearing down and guarding the realm. Now all that's left is the stone pedestal and the gold feet. The statue has collapsed onto the ground on one side and sort of shattered and scattered across the ground. The statue on the other side is the same. And the entire room here, rather than having the headstones, is dotted with those stone sarcophagi that you saw on the above floor. Except rather than being in the corners, every slot, basically every lot for the dead is one of those, very ceremoniously set up with brass rails around and the sarcophagus of stone in the center. The only problem is every single sarcophagus lid is open. And all the stone sarcophaguses are split down the middle. They've been cracked and broken. And as far as you can tell, there's nothing in any of them. However, the other thing of note, in the center of the room, is a large pool. It's no longer larger than a wading pool or a fountain in the middle of a mall, to give the players some context here. It's perfectly round, and there is sort of smooth marble on the edge. This stands out to you because the rest of the crypt has all been sort of bits and pieces of cobblestone. Like, you got the sense that they just took whatever would work and stuck it together. It's all makeshift rock and bits of wood and other things. But this little fountain in the middle is like a smooth marble surface. Obviously, decay and time has not done very nice things to it, but it does stand out as a much more purposeful structure than anything else. However, the water inside the fountain has a certain je ne sais pas. Can I say pas? Am I saying that right? Whatever.
Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi, thank you. I combined two completely different phrases together. Excellent. It has a certain je ne sais quoi to it. How to describe it? Oh, the reek of death.
Nice.
The water is completely black with some kind of slimy ichor. There's clearly splotches of dark purple, which you can only guess is blood. And the stench that comes off of it is a mix of bog water mixed with a decaying corpse. This was the very last place. If this was the last place on Earth to take a drink from, you'd probably still just die of dehydration. But Godwin, you don't see it that way. For you, the pool is completely different. You don't see the blood or the black or the green of moss and algae. For you, the pool is completely crystal clear. It looks like water on the coast of a Caribbean island. It's so clear that you can see to the bottom and the polished marble underneath. In fact, it strikes you so odd because in your eyes, the fountain is completely untouched by time. For many, Rick, Rian, Lionel, all of you see it as this decayed, moss-covered, icky, disgusting pool. But Godwin sees it maybe as it once was, with shining, glistening water and crystal clear water. And I want to make clear to you, Godwin, that unless somebody in the group mentions it to you, that's what you see. You don't have this sense of, oh, I'm seeing an illusion or something. Like, the pool looks like that to you, or to everyone else it looks different.
Godwin clutches the amulet. And
your amulet is very clearly reacting to the water.
He clutches it and he says, my God, we've been given a gift. This place has been kept completely intact this whole time.
Not unless it was designed very poorly.
Yes, Godwin, this isn't exactly what I would call intact. I don't.
Fools, do you not see it?
The boy has gone mad at last. The pressure's too much for him.
Does he usually call you fools?
Godwin, are you with us?
Of course I'm with you. What do you mean? Drink,
It's
man,
just
drink.
the same rotten decay here, boy.
Yes, Godwin, this is not potable water.
It is still, yes, but drinkable.
Godwin, think of how unkempt the rest of this tomb was. Does it make any sense to you that anything on this level would be pristine? We are in the catacombs of an abandoned, ruined city.
What do you mean?
Something
Can you not see it?
Something is veiling your vision. You are not seeing clearly.
This is a travesty, a deplorable. I don't have the words, Godwin.
You too, Rian. My Rian.
Could I make an aid
Yes.
roll to give him a +1 on a discern reality?
Sure. But Godwin has to feel like he needs to discern reality.
I'm not rolling that.
What?
None of you drink.
Right, because it is water infested with rot and the blood of
Godwin,
countless.
what? You truly believe this is fine?
Godwin gets up to it, grabs a handful.
Before
Amulet glows brighter than it ever has. As you approach.
just before, as Godwin clearly is making his way there, Many lays a hand, right, not violently, but just lays a large hand on Godwin's shoulder as he kneels down to take the water in his hands.
I mean to
Don't
show it
poison
to you.
yourself.
No, I
These
just need to
fools
show
need
you.
you.
It's to show you. It's to show you. Look. You
But
can
what if
drink.
you're not seeing what's really there? You would leave them alone? On a whim?
Are my eyes clouded?
One of us is not seeing what's really there. Is it worth taking the risk?
Godwin drops the water, what he sees, back in.
Is Nathaniel, you said his amulet is glowing. Is that something we can all see or only him?
I was
Oh,
just
yeah,
about to
definitely.
ask the same thing.
Definitely, it's completely inconspicuous. You can
my-
definitely all tell it's
Inconspicuous or
Conspicuous.
very
sorry, it's completely conspicuous. All of you can see it glowing. It's very obvious.
There is some magic at work here. And when has
My
magic
gods.
ever been in our favor?
This is no magic. This is my God telling me true.
Oh, God, again. Very well. And Many pushes him aside and goes down and takes a handful of the water. They don't need me as much as they need you. And pours it into his mouth.
Okay. First of all, two
Character
things
sheet?
happen. Yeah. First of all, two things happen. Many, you may restore all of your hit points.
And Mark's sick.
And second, as he drinks the water, and you touched it, right? Godwin, so you scooped it and then you let it go, right? When Many put his
Yes.
hand on you? Yeah.
Yes.
As Many drinks, Godwin, suddenly the room vanishes. All of your comrades vanish. The crypt fades to black, then fades to bright white, and then suddenly you're on the side of a mountain cliff. It looks very familiar to you, and at first you think you're having a vision of where you've been. You look around and see the holes of the entrances to caves, and at first you're stricken with, well, I've been here before. This is where we began our journey several days ago before we met Rick. But you realize it's not exactly the same position. You don't see the camp in the distance. You don't see the same tree line. You look up and sideways and back towards the caves. Oh, you know where you are. If only you had a chance to be totally clear, but you're pretty sure you know exactly where you are right now. And then the vision fades. Back to bright white, back to black, and then finally the crypt and your comrades come back in view. For the rest of you, it looked as though Godwin had started seizing. He not on the floor, foaming the mouth or anything, but just seizing muscularly, he had a spasm in his back, so it collapsed backwards and his hands were shaking and all of that. And then a few seconds later, he relaxes again.
Rian rushes to support Godwin.
Yes, seizing.
Lionel just mutters, "It doesn't make any sense. Many was the one who drank."
I'm not
The
exactly sure.
water. The water is sweet.
Should
Will you not trust me next time? I will not lead you astray.
I
It was my promise to you.
I know, Godwin. I will listen.
Drink the water.
And he steadies you back up and goes to take a handful of water to drink.
Okay, very good. Richard, choose one: clear a debility or restore all your HP.
I'm gonna clear a debility.
Okay, go for
Very
it.
shaky.
As Rian takes a sip of the water, the room shakes again. It shakes terribly. And you realize now, well, I'm sure some of you had already clicked 2 and 2 together, but all the stone coffins are empty because their occupants were elsewhere. And out of the ground, out of the walls, out of the ceiling, this time instead of shambling corpses, skeletal creatures emerge. Their bones bleached white. Despite the fact that they're covered with debris and dirt and dust, the actual bones are completely whitewashed. Like somehow the skeletons themselves have remained untouched, even though the rags they're wearing and the environment around them still clutters on them. It's hard to describe, but even though the skeletons are covered in dirt, you feel like there's a layer between that dirt and what they are. There's something special about them. And each of them are carrying a sword or a club or a mace or a spear. And even from the tatters and rags that they're wearing, you understand that what they were dressed in was heavy-duty combat armor. These are the corpses of soldiers or knights. And they come innumerably, just like the zombies. Not just out of the ground, but out of each wall, out of the ceiling, from behind you. It's impossible to take a step in any direction without coming face to face with one of these undead soldiers. And they make no vocalizations, they make no sounds, they don't shamble or make random swipes at you like the creatures above. They move calmly and coolly towards you, like they've done this hundreds and hundreds of times. In fact, the very perceptive amongst you will actually note that a few of the skeletal warriors are bearing weapons that are stained with blood. The bloodstains seem relatively new. Perhaps the mage entourage did not fall to the ghosts above after all.
As the warriors then rise, Many immediately stands to his feet and comes to stand in front of where Godwin is. You should help yourself to your God's bounty, then. I'll keep you safe.
The skeletons approach from every side. There's too many to count. You've already counted 36, and yet still more seem to claw out of every side. But for some of you, you maybe can't focus on these skeletons because you're a little bit too worried about the structural integrity of the crypt. You've stepped far, like this reflecting pool was sort of in the center of the room, so it's quite a stroll back to the stairs, and like I said, the creatures have come from every direction. But the place continues to shake, and you can hear groaning as the supports in the roof, the supports in the walls have been ripped, have been damaged as the skeletons clawed their way out. Maybe they've done this many times before, and maybe the crypt was stronger before, but it's not super happy now.
Mm.
And as the place continues as the place continues to shake, there's one more giant thud. It comes down on your left-hand corner, closer to the back corner wall. You don't know what it is. At first, you all think it's just a part of the ceiling completely collapsing. Heavy stone and maybe some of the statuary from above collapsing onto the ground. It falls with that kind of force. No, it's come down too fast for that. Stone would thump, but it wouldn't plow down like something so quick, like something with such purpose. like Reaper. And as he stands back up from the rubble and ruin that he's made, whoever is closest to the left-hand side can see he's left a hole clean all the way back up to the surface. He obviously punched his way straight down into here. And he turns to the group, and he points a finger, his hands covered in black gloves that don't seem to have an end. They integrate directly into his suit. And his suit is completely ebon black of a material you've never seen before. Again, he dons that black glass helmet. And his voice comes through distorted and strange, but you hear it nonetheless. Finally, I thought oh, shit. And as he looks up, all of you do instinctively as well. As the ceiling, with Reaper being the straw that broke the camel's back, finally caves in. And the center column that was supporting most of the weight collapses down the middle. Instinctively, each of you fly to one side or the other, and I would like everybody please to make a defy danger roll. You may use whatever stat you feel is most appropriate to yourself.
Who is closest to me?
You have 3 milliseconds to react, so
My reaction would be to protect the person closest to me.
Okay, in lieu of defying danger?
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
Okay. Very good.
Rocks are falling on a big rock man. I would not be.
Can I get a +1 because I can't be surprised?
No, I'm sorry.
So I know many Godvin and Rian were in the center, so I'm guessing Lionel would be closest to me then?
Sure, I'll resolve that as soon as I've seen everyone else's defy danger.
Okay.
Can I add Yovis's thing for his keen senses? Do I get the jump on the drop or?
Oh, like you hear the column collapsing or something like that?
Yeah, something.
Sure. Okay. Great. Yeah, and you were right, Kirk. Yeah, Lionel would be the closest to you.
Yeah, so I'll try to protect him and little Foxy boy.
Okay. The fox is okay. Thanks to you. All right. So, let's start with. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Lionel, Rian, and Rick. Rick, you're the first to come aware. You realize that you must have instinctively grabbed at Lionel and Ylvis and sort of, and you realize as you're standing, you're kind of giving them like a weird, awkward hug in an attempt to sort of block them from above.
Mm-hmm.
And you retract your hands and note that they're okay, and you seem to be okay. Although you're still feeling that same sort of woozy, I shouldn't be here sensation you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And as you turn to one side, you can see the entire center of the room has completely caved in. Like there's just rocks and metal and bits of wood and obviously debris from the surface has all collapsed in the center of the room and ended up sort of establishing almost like a rock slide, right? Like it's established like several feet of debris in the center. And Lionel and Rian, you both quickly come to. I say come to, and you didn't get knocked unconscious. You managed to get out of the way. And you kind of all give yourself an acknowledging nod. It's all happening very fast. But you realize that Godvin and Many are nowhere in sight. Meanwhile, Godvin, Many, I'm afraid that the two of you have been knocked onto your touche. Godvin, you get up first, but you're staggering. Something heavy and hard must have hit you in the back of the head. You instinctively grab at it, and when you pull it away, you can see that you're bleeding. Like the blood's dripping pretty bad. Something obviously cut into your skull. As a result, you're feeling very woozy. If you had something to eat recently, it would probably be tossing up onto the floor. The only reason you're brought back to clarity again is because of this weight that you can feel on your amulet. And and sort of its light shines brightly and kind of like almost slaps you awake again, keeps you from falling unconscious, but you're feeling really, really, really bad. As you stumble, you notice Many, and you can tell he's still breathing, but he's sort of splayed out on the ground. Something heavy has fallen onto his legs, big chunk of rock. And Many, a moment later, you come to and realize that you've been pinned. Whoosh! There's a rush of wind, and at first the two of you think it's coming from above, but you realize that Reaper has close distance. He's standing so close to you, Godvin, that you can see that his breath is fogging the black glass in front of his face. And he sort of leans over. One of you has something I'm looking for. I take it as this. And there's another gush. He takes a step back from you, and in his right hand he starts twirling around your amulet, which he has pulled from your neck. You have no idea how annoying it was to track this down. It's been setting off his stupid beep in my helmet. Anyways, thanks, kid. This'll help me track down that last wizard much easier. Oh, I'm not one for speeches. It's time for the two of you to die. And he cracks his hands and starts to make a motion.
Looks up from where he is pinned beneath the rubble. I was locked in with the tiger. But I did say I'd protect you. I'm going to proc my move Samson, which I gained on my last level up.
Nice.
That's convenient.
Which is, you may take an ability to immediately break free of any physical or mental restraint.
You may take a ability to immediately break free of any physical, mental restraint. Okay, please mark a ability then.
I am scarred.
Okay.
Got all this rock that fell on me.
Gotcha.
And I am going to...
You are able to free yourself from the pinned rock.
Cast the stone completely apart away from my legs.
Yeah.
Roll to my feet. Run across with my broken legs to where Godvin is. Shove him into another room with just a single push. Probably breaks a rib. And then turn around, spinning on, again, my broken legs, bringing both of my fists against a wall. And bringing the house down.
Ooh, right. Reaper slides back a little bit from the scattering of the rock. He's still staring at Godvin, honestly, when Many slams into the wall.
Go find your god, and I'll take you to see yours.
We're gonna split screen back over to Rick, Rian, and Lionel. The three of you, as you come to your senses and look around for Many and Godvin, and don't see them at first. Maybe you suspect the worst. Maybe you hope that they manage to make it to the other side of the chamber. But as the three of you look around, you see that the skeletons, those who weren't crushed by the debris, are still making their way towards you. In fact, some of them have been damaged by the debris, but clearly Undeath is generous in that regard. 8 of the skeleton warriors, bearing a mix of spears and swords, start to pass their way towards you. Lionel, actually no, Rian, I'll let you act first. What do you want to do?
Rapier, that's not effective for skeletons. Are there any weapons on the ground?
Yes, some of the skeletons that were crushed by the debris have obviously dropped some of the skeletons. They're rusted with age, of course, but you can find, a mace or a sword nearby.
Yeah, I'd rather pick something up because rapiers just ain't gonna do it against a thing that is nothing to stab.
Fair enough.
I will do that, and I will I'll swing for the fences at the closest guy to me.
Okay. Hack and slash, please.
Absolutely. That's a 10.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you deal your damage and avoid their attack. At your option, you may choose to do 1 + 1d6 damage, but expose yourself to the enemy's attack.
Now I get to do damage, and then I can decide if I want to do additional damage. Is that how that one works? I don't think I've landed a regular attack yet.
Yeah, okay, so you got a 10, so you can either deal your damage and dodge the enemy attack, or you can choose to do a bonus
Additional damage
1d6 damage and get hit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me roll damage first. Do I have to declare it before I deal damage?
Yes.
Or do...
Yes, you need to declare it now.
I can take a hit. I'll do that additional.
Okay.
Hold on.
So royal damage, and then I guess roll a separate d6.
That's fine, because I have a cheap shot that I can also add on there, which is supposed to be an additional 1d6 damage anyway.
Okay.
So I'll just
So I guess roll
add
2d6
together.
then.
Well, it'd be a 1d8 and then a 1d6, but 7 in total.
Okay. 5 plus 2, right, gotcha. But yeah, and then take the extra d6 from the...
Cheap
the
shot
option
is a
there.
backstab thing, so I can't proc that. I just did that in order to make sure the math
Oh,
was
I
correct
see.
for the roll.
Oh, I see.
I
You
could
added
just
the d6
I
to do
toggled
that.
that and that was there.
Gotcha. Okay, and in return, you take 2.
Absolutely can do. That's worth it for doing 7.
You got a 7? Okay, so you smash one of the skeletons. You managed to smash his skull in with the mace, and he manages to get a grazing slash at you before he scatters it to bone. Lionel?
Because arrows aren't particularly effective against skeletons, I would imagine, could we abstract my volley roll to be me trying to shoot loose rocks from the ceiling to fall onto them?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. And would
That
you allow
sounds
me
cool.
to use blot out the sun with that, or
Lots of
would you
rocks.
prefer? Okay, coolio. So I will.
You're gonna cause a second cave-in, dude.
I mean, at this point, I'd rather die to the rocks than the skeletons. So I am going to. How many can I target with blot at the sun? I can just do as much. I'm gonna try and hit 3, so I'm gonna spend my extra ammo.
Yep.
And let's see. I do have this thing now. I was gonna say I have this thing where if me and Yilvis attack the same target, I can add his ferocity to my damage, but I don't want him anywhere near falling rocks, so I'm just gonna skip that this time.
Watch out for falling rocks. Half a press, baby.
Oh, a 10. Yes. This is a good volley.
Nice. Very good. You have a clear shot. Deal your damage, baby.
Alrighty. 5 damage to 3 of them.
Okay. The rocks pelt the 3 skeletons. They lose a few limbs. Some of the rib cage flies off. They're looking all sort of tattered and worn. One of them gets divided at the center and falls to the ground, but continues to sort of crawl his way towards the trio.
Bisected.
So, Rick.
He's bisexual.
So we just saw Reaper come in.
You saw Reaper come in, then the ceiling collapsed. And yeah.
And I know that.
Flying towards you.
Right. How many?
8. One.
Eight.
Well, Rian killed 1, and Lionel has badly damaged 3. So there's 4 more still shiny.
Okay. Reaper again. Why does he keep showing up? And then Rick, trying to kind of contain some of his anger, grabs the largest slab of rock he can.
Right.
And basically smash it down onto the obstacles in front of him to get to where the other 2 were.
Right. The building shakes again as you lift the rock. Hack and slash?
Yes, sir. Yep. Boop. Okay.
Cool. All right, so you can deal your damage before the attack, or at your option, you can do the bonus damage.
And you
Up to
want
you.
to know that before?
Before you roll damage, yes, please.
Source yourself to an enemy's attack. Yeah, you know what? I would probably expose myself.
Okay. You're in range, right?
I'm not enraged, but upset.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
Rick is showing emotion. Oh my god.
Right, you go
Okay,
green.
so yeah, I'll add a d6 to that after.
Perfect.
I'll roll that. So this is once per battle. So I'm going to re-roll that for myself then.
Oh, what a reroll.
Right, and
Oh.
1d6, 3.
That's 13.
And that's piercing 2.
Nice. Okay. Oh, very good. Okay. The stone smashes down on the skeletons. 2 of them are eviscerated, sort of dusted by the weight of the rock. The other 2 stumble to either side of it, scattered and dazed, and sort of clatter their jaws nervously towards you. The crypt rumbles again. Rick has slammed down a giant stone into the ground, and unbeknownst to the 3 of you, Manny has slammed his fists into the wall. And that's about all that the rest of the supports of the crypt could take. The ceiling begins to crumble again. Godwin, you're a bit still a bit dazed. But here's the scenario as you see it right now. Reaper has taken your amulet and he's slid back from the 2 of you. Manny, with obviously broken limbs, has run over and slammed into the wall. You have a few moments to call out or to approach one of the 2.
I was pushed into a room, right?
Yep, that's right. I pushed you far away from me as far as I could.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I missed that detail. You're right. Okay, so you're way far away from Reaper, so never mind. You have enough time to call something out to Manny then.
I don't call anything out.
Okay.
I try to get to my feet.
You try to get to your, sorry?
To my feet.
Your feet, okay. You're definitely back on your feet. You're still dazed and a bit wary. You're barely holding on to life, basically, at this point. And also the taking of your amulet has done something grievous to you. There's like a heaviness, like you're having a hard time breathing. Like you just feel like really constricted in your chest, like something's missing. Like someone who's been on oxygen for forever and suddenly the tank got pulled away. Like there's just a ripping sensation.
Okay.
Looking around you, you see that you're in sort of a side vestibule. And based on the markings on the wall, you think that maybe this is an area of prayer, somewhere like a priest might go to do burial rites. You see that there's bits of candles scattered around the ground. And you also spy what looks like a small spiral staircase. It's in terrible condition, but it looks like it goes up.
In a daze, panicked, I got pushed in here. I know the only chance I have is to let Manny take on Reaper. But my brain, something about being ripped apart from my amulet, I would still go towards the stairs.
Okay.
Clutching where my amulet was, still praying out loud, and I'd head towards the spiral staircase.
You make it up a couple of steps and sort of stumble forward, still dazed and confused.
Mm-hmm.
And you turn back in time to see the left side, that would be the side you and Manny ended up, of the chamber completely cave in. Rocks and debris fall and cover up the entrance back into the main chamber. And it goes silent. Lionel, Rick, and Rian, you hear the terrible collapse of the rocks on the left-hand side. For those of you who assumed, who hoped that maybe Godwin and Manny had made it onto that side, now, of course, you feel a pit in your stomach as you watch the ceiling on that side completely collapse. The crypt, seemingly done with its temper tantrum, its structural temper tantrum, sort of stops shaking. A few more support beams sort of clumsily fall. But it seems that as much as could collapse has collapsed. Looking up at the pile of debris, you see ruins of headstones, broken sarcophaguses, stone upon stone upon stone. The debris pile reaches high enough that a skillful climber could actually probably make their way back up to the surface. And since the cave-in has destroyed the staircase you came down, that might actually be the three of yours only option. But there is a deafening silence on the left side of the chamber. Godvin, you see this debris, and assumably, unless you say otherwise, manage to get back onto your feet and slowly trudge your way up the spiral staircase. But at certain points, you have to be on your hands and knees, basically.
Yeah, it's difficult.
We're completely blocked off, yeah? It's completely separated. Fantastic.
Completely separated. The left side is gone. The only way out of this chamber at the moment, and away from the skeletons that remain, is climbing the debris back up to the surface.
There is a quiet moment of realization before Rian takes off into a sprint towards the pile of debris and starts trying to dig out by hand. An impossible thing to do.
Yeah.
But the entire time, tears are streaming down his face, and he, at first, starts yelling Godvin's name as he's trying to do something. But the impossibility of this task soon weighs on him, and he just kind of slumps there, staring into the rocks in front of him.
The remaining skeletons, most of them scattered or broken by your assaults. What's left of them either cease moving or retreat into the wall and sort of just like stand motionless like statues. And in a moment, there's a quiet as the unrested rest. The only emotion, of course, being Rita.
Possibly punctuated by crying.
Yes, exactly.
After that, you just hear a voice speak up. Rian, Lionel, leave now. I will find the others.
Not without Godvin.
Go now, or be buried down here.
I will
At least if I'm buried, I'm buried with him.
I will find him. Go now.
I, for one, am leaving. Rian, I recommend you come with me.
And you hear this kind of anxious, almost angry-ish tone.
Yeah, I imagine Rick's getting his inner baritone on there. The ground trembles a little bit, maybe. So,
Rick, I would recommend you come with us as well, but I have no say over what you do.
I'm fine. Go.
Does chain of command still hold? Because if so, then I have to follow.
If Godvin is alive, I will get him. Go now. I will not say it again.
Lionel, you're in charge.
I am, and we're leaving. Lionel begins climbing up the rubble.
Alright, Lionel and Ylvis have no problems climbing up the rubble now that the cave-ins seem to have stopped. You take it careful, because there is stuff that could still collapse on your head. But with some careful and tactful climbing, both of you make it up back to basically the surface.
Rian.
Hopefully Rian's following.
Rian took one backwards glance and put a finger up to Rick in his rocky face.
Okay.
If he does not come back safe, it's your life on the line. And he goes.
Okay. Again, as long as you're careful, or as careful as you can be, you manage to climb up, no problem. And I assume Rick starts Excavating.
Yeah, so I start excavating, and then I try to exert my will over this place.
Right.
Basically, whereas before I've tried to do like a tit for tat type of communal like conversation, this is more like F you.
Yeah. I'm taking the.
All right, let me just do it in character.
Yeah, please.
All right, Crypt. I hate you, you hate me. Got it. But listen here. If you don't do as I say, I am never leaving, and you'll have to put up with me for the rest of eternity. So how does that sound? Now you either let me do what I want, or suffer the consequences.
There's almost a rumbling as you approach the stone this time. And it still hurts, and there's a shocked pain. But your force starts to bend the rock. It sort of ripples in front of you like you threw a rock into a pond. And in a moment, you realize you're trudging through it. You're free to move wherever you need to be. It's not without cost. Your body cracks, it starts breaking. Take 6 damage, ignoring armor.
Fine.
But you are able to swim through it like a diver swimming through water. And in a moment, you've managed to carve your way across the left-hand path, and you make out the little alcove, the vestibule. And as you approach, you can hear the sounds of labored breathing, the sounds of stumbling upstairs and, corrective positioning. You carve your way, and the stone sort of folds like grass, like you were stomping through tall grass as you continue moving through it. And it melts in place of you and then reforms as you pass. And you manage to see the opening, and you watch a very injured, bloody Godwin continue to climb. He's about halfway up the spiral staircase, almost up to the sort of the next story, and you can sort of see the bottom half of him sort of stumbling up these stairs in sort of autopilot.
What about Manny?
There's no sign of him. And there's no sign of Reaper. Not here, anyways. What do you do here, Rick? Do you pursue Godwin? Or do you turn and continue to sort of swim through the rock looking for them?
Seeing that Godwin is safe, I continue to look for Manny.
Okay, gotcha.
Look, Stone, you give me my other companion, and I'm gone. Period. Never to return. Hell, if you even want me to put you back to how you were, I will. But you give me that companion, or the deal's off.
Godwin, you're totally an autopilot at this point. You're dazed, you're confused. You've never... When was the last time you didn't have your amulet with you? It's like, the lights are off, like you're walking in darkness.
Yeah, I don't know why you're talking to me even. I'm on autopilot.
Yeah. and Lionel and Rian become aware of Godwin stumbling up to the surface. You sort of just like stumble forward and open the doors of this like little priestly alcove. Now on the surface level, back on the ground floor.
I collapse immediately after opening the door.
Yeah, and Rian and Lionel, you see Godwin collapse. He's only a few feet away, on the far left.
I will not scream. However, Rian screams, Godwin!
Yes.
My love!
Rick. Good news and bad news. The stone continues to yield to your movements. And you swim and you meld through it. You search the area. you think you heard Manny's voice during the fight. Yeah, you were right. He was here. Did you find him? What's left of him? He's tattered and broken. You think you can bring him back up to the surface, but that's all you can do for him.
About is the fountain still around?
No,
Thirsty?
the fountain's been was dead center.
Okay.
It's been totally crushed and destroyed. The water has just spilt out onto the ground and seeped into the stone.
Then I do what I can to get him out.
Okay. A moment later, Rick emerges, carrying the broken, lifeless body of Manny.
I imagine there's a lot of damage that's happened to Rick as well.
Oh yeah, you're cracked.
There's so I guess like when the others see me, there's cracks through stones that were previously smooth. There's large chunks missing, and kind of reminiscent of like if he's like had a whole bunch of like muscles and arms and legs cut open, and he's staggering and barely on his feet. Are we completely outside, or is this just the next level?
You're completely outside. This was the ground floor.
Okay.
Remember the crematorium, but all of the shelves and like wall things that had the cubbies have all fallen over like dominoes. Like you've basically just come out of like a rift in the ground, and so most of the walls have fallen in, so you can actually see the outside.
So once I get to the top, I gently place Manny on the ground, and then as I'm kneeling down there, you just see Rick just stop moving, almost like he's just a frozen statue. Like arm straight down to the side, just completely bent on his knees, and head kind of facing downwards.
Yeah. It's obvious to all of you, Lionel, Rian, Godvin, as you start to get up again. You see Manny, but his neck is in the wrong position, and his head is facing the wrong way, and too many bones are snapped. He's gone.
Thank you for finding him, Rick.
You get no response.
Yeah.
Rick doesn't even move in response to you talking.
Godvin leans onto Rick, sort of drapes himself over Rick. Both holding himself up, but also in an act of comforting, of appreciation, affection. And he whispers it so only Rick can hear.
Right.
Thank you.
Especially unconscious, yeah. Sort of gone into a torpor, basically, yeah. As each of you sort of look at each other and look at Manny and think and mourn or grieve or just ponder whatever that looks like, there's a moment, just a brief moment for you, Godvin, a moment of clarity. Amongst everything that's happened the last few moments, your mind rolls back to that vision you saw on the mountainside, and it becomes clear to you what you saw. Cassis' hiding place. You know where Cassis is. It would be easy for you to find him. And next week, on the finale of One Last March, entitled On a Pale Horse, that's hopefully exactly what we'll do. And that ends our session tonight.
Wow.
Thank you very
Great
much.
fetch.
Yes.
Dun,
Wow,
dun,
wow,
dun.
wow.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
We will. We are indebted to your great services, many. We will never forget you.
There were many sacrifices tonight.
That's right. So
That was a lot.
I guess I
Yeah.
have to readjust my positioning for webcams next week because Chris can take the week off.
Hey,
Chris gets all the XP in the universe.
that's
Yeah.
right. He does. Thank you very much.
I'll take it all with me to Cuba.
Yeah. Fantastic session, guys. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah,
We'll
really
be
well
back
done,
for the grand
everyone.
finale next week. So, of
See
season
you all
3.
then.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Till
Take
then.
care.